roll into another full day of robotics competition. Here we are on the east side of the state today in Michigan, in Troy, at Troy-Athens High School. Another district event as Michigan First Robotics continues. Welcome inside. I'm Dan Gutowski along with my partner Dan Kimura. We'll be joined by Kaylee Marentet in just a moment. Dan, we've got the 38 teams here today. We're in the later stages of the season. How are things getting maybe more and more competitive as we get closer to the end?
Yeah, so this is actually the 5th week of district events. There are only 5 weeks, so next week is the state championship. So teams here, it's either their last chance to qualify or their last chance for a tune-up if they're already qualified. So a lot of teams will have played a lot of matches already this year. We're going to be seeing more polished robots and probably higher scores. Yeah, as we have every year, every week, the game rules can change and the teams have to make their machines adapt accordingly. Let's get a recap of how this game will unfold today here at Athens High School. The 2023 first robotics competition game is called Charged Up. The main goal of the game is to take these cubes and cones and score them on the scoring grids on the side of the field. So Blue Alliance will be scoring on the blue side, Red will be scoring on the red side. Speaking of which, there are 3 robots on each alliance playing against each other. A match is 2.5 minutes long, the first 15 seconds of which are what we call autonomous mode. So during autonomous mode, all of the movements of the robots are pre-programmed. If you can leave that starting taped off zone, scoring zone, you get 3 points for mobility. You'll continue to score the game pieces. Anything you score on the top row of our scoring grid is worth 6 points. The middle would be worth 4, and anything scored on the floor is worth 3. Then at the end of autonomous mode, teams are going to try to get on this ramp in the middle of the field. If you're on it and it's not balanced, you get 8. If it's balanced, you get 12. Then for the final 2 minutes and 15 seconds of the match, we have tele-operated mode. Teams are going to try to score as many of these game pieces on the scoring grid as possible. It's worth 1 point less in tele-operated mode, so 5 points if you're on the top row, 3 for the middle, and 2 for the low. Finally, if you get any 3 game pieces in a row horizontally, you get a link, which is 5 bonus points. A game piece can only be part of 1 link, though, so if you put 4 in a row, that's still just 1 link until you get to 6. Teams are going to do this until about the last 30 seconds of the match, when we will enter the end game. At which point teams are going to go back towards that ramp in the middle of the field. If you can get robots on it and it's not balanced, it's 6 points per robot. Every robot that is on it and it is balanced is worth 10 points. And then finally, any robots just in that taped off scoring zone at the end of the match are going to get 2 points for what we call parking.
So 6 robots buzzing all over the playing field. It can get pretty crazy sometimes. For the perspective of what's happening down in the pits, let's bring in the 3rd member of our broadcast, Kaylee Marentet.
Hey guys, excited to be back here in Troy. Per usual, we will have post-match interviews with teams talking about what went right and what went wrong. I also got the chance to sit down with some people. I spoke with a mentor from a team who is undergoing chemotherapy and was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. You'll hear what her message is to other women and why robotics is so important to her. I also spoke with an ambassador for the organization LGBTQ+ of First, talking about why groups like that are so important for students here. We'll have that and more coming up.
All right, Kaylee, look forward to that. Yeah, the human interest and the human elements of what makes this event big is what really is mattering to us here at Michigan First Robotics. We'll get things off with our matches as we continue from Troy-Athens High School. It's the first in Michigan district event, and our playoff matches start up when we come back.
At Consumers Energy, we believe change is imagining. Change is big, small, clean. Him, them, us, you. Together, we can bring clean energy to Michigan and protect the environment for generations to come. Learn about your clean energy choices and how you can become a force of change. consumersenergy.com/change.
How do you change the way the world moves? Change course. Aptiv is engineering the brain and the nervous system to bring the future of mobility to life with advanced computing platforms and smart vehicle architecture, taking you from point A to point B and every point in between. We are Aptiv, and we're moving mobility forward.
Hi, I'm Gary Foote. I'm Chief Information Officer at Haas F1 team. I'm responsible for the technology platform that underpins our Formula One racing car. Just like your first teams, there's a huge ecosystem behind Haas Formula One team. Not just my department, which looks after the technology function and the supercomputer that you see behind me. We have mechanics and engineers who travel to the circuit, but also back at base, we have finances, HR, marketing, and all manner of roles that keep our car going forwards. Haas sponsors first, because there's a huge synergy between your futures and ours. Have a great season.
First in Michigan, Robotics Game Day is brought to you by Ford, Aptiv, Magna, Consumers Energy Foundation, and DTE Foundation. Let's take a look at the brackets and how the teams that have gotten to the first match, how they got here, and let's focus on kind of how they're going to get to the end. That's always the ultimate goal here. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, first 4 matches in the upper bracket, then things will break off a little bit.
Yep, so we've been playing all day this morning and yesterday to get seeding. The number 1 seeded robot is going to be the captain of our number 1 alliance. They got to pick a partner. We go all the way down to 8, snake back up to 1, and those are the permanent alliances here. So this is Alliance 1 versus Alliance 8. Alliance 1 is the heavy favorite.
So we got 6 robots, 3 in the Blue Alliance, 3 in the Red Alliance, some familiar names, and it seems like, Dan, maybe a new robot, a new team kind of starting to make their presence felt. We'll start to highlight them. But first, let's go into our autonomous period. 15 seconds. Everything's pretty scripted and pre-programmed right now.
Yep, keep an eye on both of these red robots on the outside, 2337 and 3538. Both go for multiple game pieces in red. Meanwhile, on blue, they just kind of tried to score the one they started with. But a little bit of an issue there with 7856 getting in the way of 2337's second attempt.
That's the UPAD Fusion robot from University Prep Art and Design High School. So right now they are dead in the water, so to speak, and a non-factor. But we've seen robots and teams do very well even with a robot down.
Yeah, and I don't know what's wrong with that robot. It looks like they still are connected to the field. They have a wireless link to their robot, but it is unable to move. That said, it is a pretty big lead for Red right now. They're up by over 20 points, almost 30 points now.
And Dan, in terms of the design, the 4851 blue robot, Jungle Bots, it's just a square on wheels. Explain what that design is meant to do.
A lot of times you end up with a design like that when essentially you run out of time building your robot. You only get about 6 weeks to build the robot after you find out what the game is, and so some teams maybe just fall behind schedule. What they've done, though, is they've turned it into a defensive robot. They're out there trying to block the way, hit robots. Unfortunately, the last hit just caused them to disconnect, so they were out. And the dangerous part is they're out touching the ramp, that charge station. If they are deemed to interfere with the balance at the end of the match, they're going to get a big penalty and give balance points to the other alliance. Also, every time they get hit while they're in this red zone, it's a penalty. I've seen 2 already. So that's 10 points for the Red Alliance. So that's going to be another 5.
So anytime that robot's touched, that's points against the Red Alliance.
As long as they're inside the tape zone. Looks like that last hit pushed them out, so we won't see any more for a bit. But again, that's 20 points, and Red was already up big when that happened.
So both alliances down a robot, which is certainly not the norm, but we'll see how things play out regardless. Teams can still score a lot of points.
Even bigger, 2337 is broken. Their gripper, their intake in red, they're kind of going over to get ready to load right now. Their gripper is hanging off sideways on that arm. That is normally perfectly horizontal, so that broke free. They stopped scoring for the last, 45 seconds of the match.
That's the Engineers robot from Grand Blanc High School, one of the perennial strong machines.
Very, very good robot. It's not going to hurt them here because they had such a big lead that even with the broken robot and the other broken robot, they were able to hold on. But that is something they're going to have to get on top of for the next match.
Well, nothing more unsettling than when your machine starts to fall apart. That big piece there you just saw.
And that one was from yet another robot.
Yeah, this is
luckily, that piece there that we're looking at, that is, I don't believe, a functional part of the robot.
Okay, well,
I think
a very unorthodox first match. Would you agree?
Yeah, a lot of chaos in this one.
Yeah. Not the way you want to come out of the starting gate, but again, we've seen high scores turned in even when you're losing by one robot or have a robot down in a given match. So they're tabulating the official scoring. Red Alliance will have some penalties. But again, with the end of the day, we don't think that's going to be so problematic.
Yeah, no, so it was penalties on blue, giving red more points. We can see it there. 20 bonus points for red off those penalties. So if you get a regular penalty, that gives the other team 5 points. If you get a tech foul, that gives the other team 12 points. But we can see with or without those 20 points in penalties, red had this match quite easily. Yeah, it's not the way you want to play your first match. If you're the #1 seed, you usually come into this first match looking to execute your strategy, get comfortable, get some reps under your belt. But with the damage, 78-56, we can see there is stuck. And 23-37 at that point, too, was actually switched to playing defense. They're camping out there playing some defense because that gripper had broken off. But 35-38, the Avondale robot did a great job of just continuing to score, kept the gap big enough that they were never really in any danger.
So there's that part falling off, and let's jump downstairs and get in the pits with Kaylee Marentet.
Hey guys, I'm here with Adam right now from 35-38 Red Alliance. You guys lost a bot. Tell me about what happened there.
Yeah, so during autonomous mode, their robot, I think, hit the wall and it snapped their claw. They're going to be able to get it fixed for next match, but it's all good for now.
What about the other robot that we had? So we had the Engineers losing their gripper, but your third robot also wasn't moving for majority of the match. Do you know what was up with them?
Yeah, so their drivetrain, I'm not actually certain what happened with it, but I guess their drivetrain just went down. So we just kept them in a position that was out of the way and didn't block our pathing.
Is there anything you want to improve on heading into the next match?
Cleaning up the pathing could be nice. It'd be better if we had other robots too. That'd be useful. But otherwise, it went pretty well.
All right. Okay, thanks, Adam. Congratulations on that win. Appreciate it. Back up to you guys.
Kaylee, thank you. And yeah, one other comment, not specifically about this match, Dan, but last week when we were in Grand Valley State on the west side of the state, well, we'll get into that after we look at our highlight package with a look back and see where things went right and things went wrong.
And we can see that 23-37 robot, that gripper, the way it's just flopping around is not a good look. But a smart team, they know if they're not going to be able to score, switch to defense, get the points they need. They also then went over and balanced a lot earlier, so they kind of set that balance up and locked those points in as well. We see 28-51. This is a really good robot, likes to score on the ground level. And the idea there is you can pump those out very quickly and get the 5-point link bonuses. So that can be an effective strategy, but their partners are going to have to get a few more pieces up high.
And away we go into our next match. We are rolling right now with the Red Alliance, Hollywood, the Chimeras, and Robo Raptors. That's the Red Alliance, Blue Alliance, House of Cards, Symmetrical Chaos, and the Lakers. So a great autonomous period for the Blue Alliance.
Yep, 72-11 went for some extra game pieces again, came up a little bit empty, but did get this cube in their gripper, so that's a quick score to start tally up.
And cones are getting gobbled up. Blue Alliance has, looks like at least 2 cones ready to be placed. Symmetrical Chaos. And again, they fill the row on top and then work their way down. The high points are on the top,
more
right?
Points, yep. And let's take a look at 50-53 in blue. That cube looks very far into their gripper. So hopefully they can get it out, but it looks like it's not coming out of their gripper. So 50-53, now I think with the game piece stuck in their robot, is not going to be able to play any more offense this match. You can see that cube there. They were trying to spit it out. It wouldn't come out. I think it went too far in when they grabbed it from the loading station. So I think we've got another 3-on-2 going on here. They're going to have to switch to defense.
And the Red Alliance robot, the Chimera 1684, that is a very quick moving machine. Again, not all of them are built to be super speedy, but that looks like one that's really got some movement.
Yep, again, another robot using that swerve drive. We saw those last week, and we'll mention it quite a bit, but a swerve drive, they have the ability to point all of their driving wheels in different directions. So this robot can move forwards, backwards, it can turn it can move sideways, straight side to side, and it's really good for finding paths through the traffic in the middle of the field.
And the challenge too, Dan, is to make sure that the machines themselves can't be so top heavy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, one bump and they're flat on their side.
Yep, and contact is allowed. So when you're crossing the field at high speeds, if you ram into another robot, if they're going the other way, and that hit does flip you over, that's not a penalty. That is incidental contact.
So we now move into the last stretch here with everybody trying to get onto that charge station symmetrically and maximize their points. Looks like the Red Alliance is going to go right at it. Blue Alliance too. This is a nice move for both alliances.
Blue's there, Red's there, I think. Yep.
Oh, that was
and
close.
You'll see their lights on those charge stations with the ramps. When those light up, that tells you it's balanced. And basically, that goes from 6 points to 10 points per robot if it's balanced versus not. So a big deal to get that set. Both alliances went very early.
Yeah.
10, 12 seconds left after they were both balanced. So there is some time to squeeze out some more offense there.
What's the thought process there for going early as opposed to going late?
If you're ahead by a little bit, go early, make sure you lock it in, because that is 30 points that you can't afford to miss. And sometimes in the very first match of the tournament, which this is, right? This is the first match that these three robots have played together as an alliance. Sometimes you want to just make sure everything is working the way that you expect it to work.
Let's pick up the last stretch here with everybody loading up at the charge station.
Yeah, 50-53 kind of doing most of the work. The other two robots were in position, and they just went. I mean, that was perfect. That's about as fast as you can balance.
Those are the Lakers from Our Lady of the Lakes, very nearby here to Troy Athens in Waterford. So we did not have a big separation between these two alliances unofficially, so we're going to wait for the official scoring and then take a look and see if there were any penalty points involved. Maybe a few.
Yeah, we saw at least one penalty. We're kind of talking about some other stuff, but there was you're not allowed to be inside the other colors taped off zones and hit a robot. You can drive through them, but if you make contact with an opposing robot when you're in either their scoring zone or loading zone, which will be marked by their color tape on the field, that is a 5-point penalty, and there is one here.
Here we go. Our 4 alliance against our 5 alliance. That's always going to be close. And it's a 121-117 win for the Red Alliance. Let's jump downstairs and reconnect with Kaylee.
Hey guys, I have a Red Alliance member here, Millie. Millie, tell me what was so important in that match to get that win.
What was really important to get that match was to work cooperatively with our other Alliance members. We've never really worked with these guys before on Alliance, so it was really interesting trying to figure out how to work around them and make sure we're scoring the most game pieces possible.
What was the biggest thing that you think you guys want to improve on for the next one?
I think that we just need to improve on just like trying to figure out like where we're going to be working on around each other for that match. Other than that, I think it was great.
All right, well, congratulations on that win. Thanks,
Thank
Millie.
you.
All right, back up to you guys.
All right, thank you. Boy, a very close contest, only 4 points of separation. Let's reload and re-rack our highlights.
This is autonomous mode, so 72-11 went for that second cube. It's huge if they can get it. Not only does it give you 1 extra point for scoring it, but it's 1 less piece you have to score during teleoperated. And here we can see 50-53. That is that cube that just went in too far. And I know this robot gripper design pretty well, and there's sort of that clear piece of plastic that's going across there. And sometimes if you bring the cube in a little bit too fast and a little bit too long, it can get wedged in. And now a good look at 1684. We didn't get to talk about them a lot during the match, but they are probably the best offensive robot on the field for this match. And they were more or less untouched, going back and forth, scoring repeatedly. Here's our quick balance at the end for Blue, 50-53, kind of pulling up to exactly the right spot. And Red had to do the same thing again. Red had some extra time here. They struggled a little bit more with this, but we can see the clock on the back. They are balanced with 10 seconds left, so we will have to see if they're going to use some of that extra time in their future matches. That might be, well, I guess you can't get much closer than that last match.
So let's slip into our 2 against 7 alliance, our third match, which has the Rochester Adams Atombots, Oakland Schools Tech Campus, the Crew, Alcona Community, the Tool Cats. So this is Another interesting showdown, 2 versus 7. Obviously, the points that you have coming in, you're going to get seated appropriately, and that's how you may or may not be invited to be part of someone else's alliance.
Right, yep. And what's interesting, though, is the draft is a snake, so it's not 1 to 8, 1 to 8. The first round of picks goes number 1 seed down to number 8, and then it's number 8 gets the first pick in the second round back up to number 1. So I guess those of you with fantasy football experience probably know all about this. But what that means is the third robot on our blue alliance here, the number 7 alliance, should be better, theoretically, than the third robot on the red alliance. So sometimes, somewhere around this 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7 maybe area, sometimes you can get a really good third robot. And in a game like this year, we have a lot of alliances being very successful playing all 3 robots on offense. So we have to look and see. I think the blue robot has 3 capable scorers going against the red alliance, which I think has 2 very, very good scorers, and then one that's, I don't know how much they're going to be scoring this match.
Dan, you mentioned in the last match that Chimera's machine was the best, most offensive robot out there. What do you mean when you say they're the best robot out there? What does it have that makes it that good?
So there are a few things we're looking at. The biggest thing is we call it cycle time. So this is how long does it take to go from finishing scoring one game piece to getting another one, coming back and scoring it. How long is that cycle? And the lower you can get that, essentially the more game pieces you can score. And they've got all of the pieces you need, which is you need to be able to grab the piece quickly when you're loading up. You need to be able to cross the field without getting held up by other robots. We saw their swerve drive helping them snake through it. And then you've got to release the game piece quickly to score it.
Let's jump downstairs and connect with Kaylee Marentet.
Hey guys, yeah, it looks like there are some people looking at 55-25 right now. Not sure what's going on. It looks like members are kind of playing with some pieces. I don't know if there's a malfunction or what's happening, but it seems like there's definitely a delay going on here. Dan, I don't know if you can speak to this, how long it would take until this becomes a penalty or delay of game or anything like that, but it looks like there is a problem going on. Again, it's this 55-25 from the Red Alliance, so not sure what's going on here, but I'll stay up on it and I'll pass it back up to you guys.
Okay, any thoughts on what they could potentially be working on?
Yeah, so we can see that they're not connected to the field right now. There's some extra LED lights that we can see that are above the player stations. When they're flashing, the robot is not connected. When the light is out and off, it's connected. So there's actually 2 robots we're waiting for, both 7769 and 5525. 5525's light just turned off, which means they are now connected. So probably all they had to do was something booted up, not the way they expected it to. They probably just unplugged stuff, plugged it back in, turned it off, and turned it on again, which always works. That's always the first step for anything tech-related.
That's what you tell your grandmother, right?
Reboot it first.
Power it down, turn it back on.
And then call me back.
It's not right. Or don't.
Or, yeah, if it works, you're good. So stuff like that happens fairly frequently. We have a whole field crew here dedicated to making sure the robots get connected and we have fair matches. It can, though, rattle a team a little bit. They want to just get ready, get in the right mental space, but their robot's not connecting, and then all of a sudden the match will start on them. So we'll keep an eye on that robot and see how they perform, how the drivers do.
Yeah, the adrenaline's rolling, you're ready to rock, and then all of a sudden it's like a player, you got to retie your shoe.
Yeah, and you don't want, it's like you don't want to lose confidence in your equipment, right? So if you think your shoe is not tied right or it's going to fall off, that will affect how you're playing. And it's the same thing with the robots. If you think there might be an issue with the robot, you might not drive it the same way. So hopefully that's not going to be an issue for them here.
The machines are fixed, and we moved into our autonomous period for 15 seconds.
7769 is having issues. They have normally scored the first game piece and moved by now. I don't think they moved at all. So in red, that was the first pick of this alliance. That was the second overall pick in the entire tournament. If there are issues with that robot, it's going to be bad news for our number 2 alliance in red.
Well, it's spinning in a stationary position. Now it finally breaks out. So maybe they're out of the woods with the 7769 machine.
It looks like they're taking up a defensive posture. That cone is still trapped inside. They would have scored that if they could have. And yeah, they're playing defense. So we are down to 245 trying to score almost alone here.
And again, if you're going to be down a robot, you kind of want your defensive robot to be the one that takes a powder, right?
Yep, absolutely. Especially on one of the top couple alliances. Talked about that snake draft, right? So if it's the 23rd or the 24th alliance or robot in the playoffs, it should be less impactful than the second overall pick. But we do see 55-25 trying to get some points scored here. They got a cone pushed in, and they're going to score a cube here. So they are able to score, and they're kind of picking up some of the slack.
The 245 Red Alliance robot, the Adam Bots from Rochester Adams High School, with a cone placement on the top row. So things looking pretty good right now for the Red Alliance with a double-digit lead.
Yeah, so it actually is Red pulling out the lead despite the fact that the 7769 robot is not able to score.
Yeah, kind of a non-factor right now, and the Red Alliance forcing 2 of their robots into that loading zone.
Yep, we can see very good defense, though, being played by 7769. And I think that's something that we don't get to see a lot, is some of the very top offensive teams could be very good defensive robots if given the chance. It's just usually not worth it because they can score more. But they're doing a good job of slowing down 9-10 here, another very good offensive robot.
The Blue Alliance 9-10 robot, the Foley Freeze from Bishop Foley.
Yep, and we got another robot, 9237, has been disabled. So we can see this blue robot, 9237, is not moving. They are disabled. Again, those LED lights above the driver stations, when it goes to that amber color, that basically means they were turned off. They didn't lose connection. This is not a robot problem. The referees chose to turn that robot off.
Blue Alliance trying to hit that charging station, but only 2 robots are going to go up. This will be a lower scoring match for sure as we go to 0-0. And
yeah, and Blue had to kind of keep scoring, so they went a little bit late to try to balance there. And 55-30 rolling off at the end, they weren't able to do it. That's the right decision, though. When you're down, you can't stop early and just go to balance. So here's that 245 robot doing a pretty good job with their cone. They've got a cool, I think it's passive. So they grab the cone, and it's always going to dangle down.
And here's the balance at the end that is, well, one robot, not enough.
Yep, they're just trying to creep up there and just run out of time there before they could score it.
That's the Swartz Creek Dragonators from the Blue Alliance that missed out on the balance at the end there from the charge station. So again, you're always hoping that, you know, every week and every practice you get a little bit more crisper, but sometimes, you know, the machine comes here on game day and doesn't always deliver.
Yeah, so in this case, they got disabled by the field, and I don't know what it was for, but typically when you get disabled like that, it's for touching something outside of the field. There's a safety rule. If you make contact with anything outside of the field, the robot gets disabled so that you can't, you know, hurt anybody. And the other one is usually if the robot starts falling apart. If like an entire bumper falls off the robot, you might get disabled. So I don't know what it was in this case, but either way, not a particularly close match.
And not especially super scoring either, but let's pick up our highlight package as we start here with autonomous with not a gangbuster start by the Blue Alliance, obviously.
They got their 3. 9-10 was not able to grab the second cube there, but do get the balance. So this is sort of a standard autonomous mode. And here we see on red, 7769 not able to do anything, just kind of sitting there parked. And we found out that there was damage to the robot, or something wrong with that robot. 55-25, picking up some of the offensive slack, getting a nice cube score there. And we see this one, 55-30. Kind of a cool little mechanism that reaches under, but unfortunately that one fell off the side, so it went from being a 3-point middle row score to a 2-point on the floor score.
Boy, solid defense there by the Red Alliance 7769 machine to just take up space and make things complicated.
2 swerve drive robots means they can both move sideways. You lose some of your advantage there.
And now the balance at the end for the Red Alliance. Again, they win handily 111-73, and the Blue Alliance with just 2 robots. That was, they needed 3. Even then it wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah, would not have quite been enough. And here, just again, they had to keep scoring till it was a little bit close, and they just needed to hit this balance first try and couldn't do it.
So a frustrating event for the Blue Alliance. Downstairs we go to Kaylee.
Hey guys, the team we've heard a lot from this past game, 7769. I have Jonathan with me. Jonathan, you guys played a lot of defense. We were talking about that earlier. We don't really see that a whole lot. Why did you decide to go that route?
At the start of the match, we noticed some errors on our driver station, so we thought about how we wanted to play out through the match in that instant. So we noticed our claw wasn't working, we couldn't score. So we identified what robot was the strongest on the other alliance, and we said, screw it, we're going to go, and we're just going to drive as best we can.
So let me jump in here. So do you believe this is a software issue that should be fixed, or?
It won't be software. We saw specific CAN errors on our robot. We know what the problem is, and we know it's a wiring problem, and we know we can fix it.
Do you guys think you're going to be able to fix that before going into the next match?
Yes, we think so.
All right. Well, good luck. Thanks for joining us, Jonathan.
Thank
Dan
you.
and Dan.
All right. So we're moving into our fourth match, which is 3 against 6.
So this is the last of our first round matches.
Perry Rambots, the Royal Oak Ravens, and the International Academy of Macomb Benzene Bots. That's a familiar name. On the flip side, the Thunder Chickens. Not a newbie. Nope. They've been around the block. And Las Gorillas and the Blue Thunderneers.
And 217 and 469 have a lot of history together. They've played together in past years many times, won several events together, and they played together this year a couple of weeks ago.
So Blue Alliance with a modest, not even a lead. It was tabulated. The Red Alliance wins in points after the autonomous, but now we go into teleop.
Yeah, pretty balanced. I think one extra score. And now we'll see Red. Again, we're down at a point where it looks like we're going to see 3 robots scoring from both sides, so not a single defensive robot in this match.
So
and that was a good move. 469 coming across the field. They saw a blue robot trying to pick up off the ground, decided to go through that robot instead of around them. Maybe slowed them down a little bit, and a good score there.
So still lots of time left for the Blue Alliance, but they've got a little work to do to make up for.
Yeah, it looks like both alliances almost done with the top row. You got 1 spot left for Red, 2 spots left for Blue. That means Blue has an extra link up there. So we'll see 5 points show up on the scoreboard here. Actually 10 total when 65-48 scores this one.
Yeah, the Blue Thunderneers 71-92 from the Red Alliance. Kind of hovering in the middle now, going for a cube pickup.
217 answers back. A little bit of a traffic jam in that red loading zone. So we saw 469 having to wait for some clearance to get in there. So that's something that this alliance can work on.
Well, a lot of activity for the Red Alliance. And the 71-92 machine for the Blue Thunderneers having a tough time getting position to drop that cube.
Yeah, looks like they're going to try to get a link on the bottom, doing their best to stay out of the way of 217. Meanwhile, the Blue Alliance, just everybody keeps taking turns putting stuff up. 1188's turn now. Oh, a little bit of a miss. That's a drop. That's going to go on the floor. It will complete a link, so that was actually a 7-point score for them. But a second miss back-to-back there. So Red has a small lead, a very small lead going into the end game. It's going to come down to the balance here.
Las Gorillas with a cone drop, but not a clean drop for sure. And now they're going to try to get on that charge station, but only 2 of the Red Alliance robots, and they get nothing.
Not in time. So they were both on the ramp. That's still going to be worth 12 points and 2 for the parked robot. So they're going to have 14 endgame points for Red, but 30 for Blue. It's going to be a 16-point swing. That might have turned this match around for them.
Sometimes you wait a little too late to get that last push on the charging station, and Red Alliance might get stung.
One thing was there was a cone that got dropped on top of the charging station on that ramp there, and I think that cone threw them off in the end game. They were kind of working to get it out of the way. People weren't in their normal positions, so I think that might have slowed them down a little bit.
Well, we're going to wait for the judges to finish the tally, and here it is, a 6-point win for the Blue Alliance, our first upset of the day, with a lower seed beating a higher seed.
A very close match, 128 to 122, so only 6-point difference. And again, if that ramp were balanced, that would have been worth 8 extra points. So even with just the 2 robots on there, if they had balanced it, it would have been 10 points each. That would have swung the match back in their favor.
Downstairs to Kaylee Marentet.
Hey everyone, here I'm with Margie Jenkins from 469. She is a mentor. Margie, how you feeling?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking me. I'm glad you could join us today. So first of all, you are a returning mentor. Tell me how long you've been in robotics.
This is my 24th season. I started out as a student in 2000 and was on a team out of Pontiac from 2000 to 2002, graduated, and then continued mentoring ever since.
Wow. Just loved it that much. You had to stay with it. Tell me how important robotics has been for your life.
I saw how great the program was as a student, and just seeing these kids day in, day out, especially as coming in freshmen to their senior year, and just seeing especially when kids just get something, it's just so inspiring, and it makes you feel very happy and excited for them. And I personally don't have any kids of my own, so these are my kids.
Yeah, your adopted family.
Yes. Yes. And yeah, unfortunately, I can't have any kids, so these will always be mine.
Yes. So you are undergoing chemotherapy right now.
I am.
For breast cancer. Yeah. Tell us about this journey for you.
So in 2014, I like to refer to that as it was a high and a low year. My team had won the world championship, which was the first time I'd ever won a world championship, and so it was really exciting. And that happened in April of 2014. And then in July, right around 4th of July, I had found a tumor in my left breast. I thought, I was 31 at the time. I was like, I didn't think too much of it. It was like, if it's still there after the holiday, I'll go see a doctor and get it checked. Come to find out, it was stage 2 breast cancer. I had 4 tumors, and the one that I felt was what I call mom tumor. And then she had 3 little kids.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that was 2014.
Yes.
And I know you're undergoing treatment for it right now. Tell us about what led up back to this.
So in 2021, in March of 2021, I had been in remission for so long that they consider it kind of almost like geriatric because of the type of cancer I had. They were like, okay, you've been remission so long, you are free to go. And I got released from oncology, which was a great feeling. And looking back, I will always be very happy for that day. And I apologize right now if I get emotional.
It's okay. You're okay.
In October of 2021, I started feeling like I had bronchitis. And I was like, I had just done a half marathon in June. And so I was like, it can't, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, this has to be something. So I had a virtual appointment with my regular doctor, and she thought it was bronchitis as well. So she treated it, but it didn't get any better. It got worse. And I'm very big into robotics, and October is our fall busy season. So I was like, on a Wednesday, I was like, well, I don't have team on Wednesday, so I guess I'll take some time for myself and go get checked. Come to find out, I had 2 liters of fluid in my left lung. And the cancer had come back and had spread to my left lung and all of my bones. So I went from being in complete remission to stage 4 breast cancer in less than a year.
Wow. So obviously you found this yourself, and who knows where we could be if you had not gone and checked yourself and gotten yourself checked out. What is your message to other people about this?
Everybody should check. I get really mad when I hear my friends say they haven't got their mammograms yet. I'm like, no,
please
do it. Self-checks also, that's how I found my first cancer. Self-checks save your life. And doing robotics is currently saving mine. Even though I am going through chemo, right now I do oral chemo. I get 3 weeks on, 1 week off. I am very immune compromised, so my wonderful team, you will see them all wearing masks to protect me. Even though everyone else in the event pretty much is mask free, my team will always wear masks at tournaments to make sure I'm safe. And the fact that the kids are willing to do that and even like will ask if I feel comfortable if they take them off is just amazing. They're the reason I'm still around. This is my happy place. This is my fun place where I don't have to think about cancer or the fact that later on today I'm going to be extremely tired and sore and hard to walk.
Well, we are extremely glad that you are here, and I'm sure your team is extremely happy to have you. You have a great group of people around you and a great adoptive family.
Yes.
So thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
No
I know
problem.
it's not easy. So we really appreciate it, and thank you so much for chatting with us.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you. All right, Dan and Dan, back to you.
You know, Dan, the one thing that we've always talked about is how the robotics community in Michigan is all about supporting each other. Well, usually we're talking about, hey, sharing a part, you know, helping out another team that's in distress. But as we dig into the human element even deeper, like we just did with Margie, we know that it's all about how we can help her going forward. Let's reconnect with Kaylee. Kaylee, what's happening with Margie in terms of how people can directly help her in her cancer battle?
Yeah, guys, so one thing Margie told me after our interview is that her team, 469, has partnered with Be The Match to do a bone marrow drive, getting donors for bone marrow that will go to cancer patients. Anyone that's 18 to 40 years old can be eligible, and if you are interested, there are flyers. You can see that right there. The QR code is up on your screen. There are also flyers around here, around the high school in Troy, with that QR code that you can scan and find more information and sign up. There are also going to be flyers out at States Nest next weekend in Saginaw if you are not here and able to get that QR code. So Dan and Dan, back up to you guys.
All right, again, the robotics community in Michigan continues to find new ways to, you know, help people that need it, whether it's something related specifically to robotics and what happens between the lines or whatever's going on outside the lines. What a great outpouring, and we hope that you can participate in that if you're so inclined. Let's update our brackets. We take a little break from what's happening on the field, but we finished our first 4 matches, and we now have, well, a pretty reasonably competitive field going forward with the 1-4, 2-6 as we move into round 2. Then at the bottom in the lower bracket, it's 8-5 versus 3-7.
Yeah, again, remember it is a double elimination tournament, so teams that lose in the upper bracket will have one more chance in the lower bracket. So especially Alliance number 3 that we just watched, some hiccups there. So hopefully they're able to kind of figure that out, and we see a better second match from them here.
And what are teams doing now in this kind of little downtime? What's on their
This
agenda?
downtime actually got scheduled in intentionally, and the idea is, look, these robots are out there, they're working hard. It takes a certain amount of time to get a robot set back up. And we used to have timeouts that alliances could take to buy themselves a little bit of extra time to fix the robot. Instead, we just have this break that is scheduled in after the first round of matches. So teams, if everything is working well on your robot, all you're going to do is do a systems check. You'll hook it up, get it connected, test every function on the robot, then pack it up, put a brand new battery in, and get ready to go to the field. But if you find something during that or something happened during the match, then it is an all-out scramble. It's like a pit match, a pit crew where you're taking the tires off as fast as you can.
We'll take a quick break here at Athens High School. More when we come back as our district event continues at Troy Athens High School, Michigan. First robotics competition.
Are you ready? It's a simple idea. Turn one kind of energy into another. It's how you make those evening rides a little safer. It's how we help make them a little safer too. We collect energy from the wind that helps create the electricity that powers your streetlights. So when the sun sets on another family cruise, remember that your pedal power isn't the only thing lighting the way home. Consumers Energy, a force for you, a force of change.
How do you change the way the world moves? Change course. Aptiv is engineering the brain and the nervous system to bring the future of mobility to life with advanced computing platforms and smart vehicle architecture, taking you from point A to point B and every point in between. We are Aptiv, and we're moving mobility forward.
Consumers Energy, we believe change is preparing. Preparing for the worst by putting to work the very best. Change is improving by replacing utility poles and redesigning our substations. Change is commitment. Commitment to upgrading 1,000 miles of our energy grid every year. And change is confidence. The confidence of knowing when it comes to keeping the lights on, we're always on. Consumers Energy, a force for you, a force of change.
Back at Athens High School with a little bit of downtime. Let's take a look at what's happening here in the upcoming match with Atherton High School. Atherton Junior and Senior High School. Davison, Our Lady of the Lakes. That will be the Blue Alliance. And then the Red Alliance is Southeastern, Lamphere, and Utica.
Yeah, a tough first round matchup for the number 8 Alliance. They're now wearing the red bumpers. Keep in mind, they will be changing the color of the bumpers. So we're looking at 2851 here, which is the last robot. We're trying to get them on the field. They were in blue bumpers in their first match. They're in red bumpers now. So keep track of the team numbers and the Alliance numbers, but the colors will change as we go through this tournament. And it looks like they're on their way. I don't see anything blatantly wrong with the robot. But they were part of that first round. Which match actually were there in the first round? No, they weren't. That was Alliance 1 versus Alliance 8, which was 2851, where we saw broken robots left and right. So I don't know if they were carrying any damage forward, but they are on the field now. So it'll be about a minute. It takes about a minute for these robots to boot up once they put power on, and for the radios to connect to the field.
Any teams that you think are expected to maybe kind of carry the day here based on what you've seen coming in or what you know about them coming in?
Well, in this match, I guess we're looking for a couple things. 50-53, who we got a shot of their drive team right now. They had that cube stuck early in the first match. That definitely reduced the offensive output of that alliance. So if that cube doesn't get stuck and they're able to contribute to some point scoring, that's going to be good for them. And then in blue, we need to see 65-66 and 48-51 get a few more pieces scored high. We know 28-51 Crevolution was doing a great job of dumping cubes down low on the floor to just get those fast links. But they need the high row points in order to keep up. Remember, scoring on the top row is worth 5 points, the middle's 3, and the bottom's 2. So those extra, the 5 points of being on top is a pretty big deal.
Dan, when you look at a machine the first time you're seeing it and don't know anything about who built it, are you able to tell just by looking at it exactly what they're trying to accomplish with the design, or do you have to wait and see how it moves on the playing field?
Most of the time. Sometimes mechanisms and stuff are hidden, but I like going around the pits and stopping by every team and just looking at their robot and trying to learn how it works. And there's a lot of lessons you can take from that, from surprising places. So we learned some neat tricks from other teams that way. But for most of them, you kind of have seen a lot of these mechanisms before. You can see here at 35-34, that front, they've got those conveyor belt material straps, those black straps there, and then those star wheels on the bottom. So looking at something like that, we expect those conveyor belt straps to spin, trying to pull game pieces in. So they'll grab stuff, and then those green star-shaped things will also be trying to lift the game piece up inside the robot. And then we've got basically a conveyor belt inside the robot that then will bring that up into a position where they can, looks like, transfer it to their actual scoring mechanism. So each robot is different. There are some common mechanisms that you'll see a lot, but yeah, you got to kind of look, and you got to kind of look closely if you want to know how it works.
Field is ready, thumbs up, and we're about to roll right into our match 7. And away we go. The autonomous period starts. Again, a brief period where the robots are pre-programmed, and that will give way to the teleop in about right now.
Yep. Yeah. 5 scores. 28-51 could not get the cube out of their robot. So maybe there are some issues still with how that robot is functioning, but they are looking to start playing offense here.
Blue Alliance crashing into their own loading zone with a tough pickup there by the blue 50-53 machine, the Lakers, coming out with a cube, and now blocked at the center line Good defense there by the Red Alliance 48-51 machine jungle bots.
Yep. Blue jumping out to a pretty big lead here. 28-51, looking to get the second cube, but having some issues getting it out. A lot of shaking there.
And again, there's the defensive-oriented robot. Boy, they saved on parts, time, everything.
Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job of getting in the way. We'll see here. Take a look at also on red here, 65-66. When they score cubes and they're going for the middle section, they're not using their gripper. They're actually going to try to do a little mini shot here, a little layup with that cube if they can get it lined up. So this is always a fun one. Wow, they went low that time. They can spit it out the bottom there to go low, or they can suck it up and spit it out the top to try to go for the middle.
Boy, the Lakers machine for the Blue Alliance really struggling at the center line with the Jungle Bots machine. Great defense. They stripped it down, and it's doing exactly what they want it to do. Boy, there's a hard move right into that charging station.
Yep, and that is a penalty. 35-34 is going to take a penalty. It looks like some pieces are hanging out where they shouldn't be on that robot as well. I think it's the wire track. I think their wires are in that, and that's supposed to be tucked inside the robot. So it might not affect functionality, but if that gets stuck on something, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, and it's the Blue Alliance that has really blown this thing wide open as we're moving into the docking portion of this match.
So we got another penalty on Blue.
They don't need a ton of points, but sometimes those penalty points will become a factor. The Red Alliance finishing with the solid balance at the charging station.
We saw Blue actively choosing to just keep the double balance, set 50-53 in just to get those 2 parking points at the end. I think we'll see a shot here. So this is what we're kind of saying. Oh, yeah. So they come over. You can kind of see those blue wheels above. They can run it up into those blue wheels above, which are spinning faster, or they can spit it back down on the ground to get those ground points.
And here's the Lakers.
Yep, again, that cube didn't get stuck this time, but that drop was I think, an accident. I think they were about to extend out. Accidentally dropped it on the ground, but they did a good job of trying to push it in to the low spot here to get those points at least.
And all it has to do is cross the line, right?
Exactly, yep.
So they're going to tally up the points. Here's our final scoreboard for this match 7. Penalty points are a big factor.
Yeah, so 126 is a pretty good score from the number 5 Alliance. We saw 50-53 needed to sort of be more functional. We saw this match they could help score, and they got to use their 3 scores the way they wanted to in the first match when they had that cube jammed. Score was a lot lower. So this is looking good for them. But those 25 penalty points, that means Blue committed 5 penalties throughout the course of this match. Some of them were related to that broken wire track that was hanging out. There are some limits. You can only reach out, extend out from one side of your robot at a time. So if they ever had the front part of their robot extended out and that wire track was out on the side, they were going to get a penalty for that. I think that's where most of those penalties came from. So as long as they get the robot fixed, it's not something to worry about going forward.
Yeah, the points in the grid were so solid for the Blue Alliance. Very impressive, but again, you know, one round does not automatically carry over into the next round. Let's head downstairs and reconnect with Kaylee.
Hey guys, I'm here with Jacob from the Blue Alliance. Jacob, tell me how you're feeling after that.
Pretty good. We had a few hiccups, but we scored higher than the last round, and we obviously won. The only problem was we needed a triple balance. Would have got 10 more pins, but everything else was pretty much perfect.
All right, well, congratulations on that win. Dan and Dan, back upstairs to you guys.
All right, thank you. As we are going to roll into our 8th match, and here's our highlight package from match 7.
We see 28-51 there, not able to get rid of the cube onto the grid, and then having a hard time grabbing that second cube. So they're usually better at that, and that did hurt them a lot in this match. Had to play from behind. 56-60, this is good.
Yeah, cone placement up high.
Good clean, and there's 50-53, getting another cube, able to partake on the offensive side of the match. A good job cycling in. You see, too, 56-60 came in while 50-53 was leaving, and they did not get in each other's way. And that's what they need, right? They need 50-53 to add those extra scores up high in order to keep the scores close to some of our more offensive alliances number 1 and number 2. And we can see here, this is where it is broken off.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
And you're only allowed to extend off one side at a time. So there are a couple things that might have been called there. If that's swinging over the corner, they're going to get a penalty for that. So good balance. I think they chose to just stop once 50-53 wasn't there. They chose to just stop with the double. But it does sound like they are going to look for the triple balance in future matches. And this one is nice and clean and executed under pressure. That was as the buzzer hit 0. They had 1 second left when they hit that balance.
So now we move to match 6. Red Alliance's Green Hills High School. Bishop Foley and Swartz Creek. Blue Alliance's Jones C. Sargent, IRC International Academy, and Croswell Lexington.
And so 7 had a tough matchup against Alliance number 2, but only lost by 4 points. That would have been a big upset if they were able to pull it off. And our number 3 Alliance here also only lost by 6 points in their first round match. Both of these alliances had a few things go wrong for them in their first match. So which one can kind of clean those issues up? So that is the 217 team, the Thunder Chickens, with a giant banana because their partner is Las Gorillas.
Yeah, the energy just kind of ebbs and flows here, but it always stays at a pretty high level for sure.
I do not know where they get the energy from, but yes.
Yeah, it is an all-day event, and
yesterday too. They were here all day yesterday.
Yeah, right. I mean,
I think the doors open at 8 in the morning.
Yeah, there are no short weekends or no downtime in the robotics season.
Just lots and lots of Mountain Dew.
Maximize all the time that you have to get these machines right. Get your costume. I mean, hey, look at that.
Yes, so that's 910 fully freeze, and they've been wearing those, I think, since their inception, like, I don't know, 20 years ago, 15 years ago.
It's kind of a classic look.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if those have. I don't know what they've aged well in the last 20 years, but there's a Robo Chicken, Thunder Chicken. Sorry.
That's a hat that I would probably not wear. It's always the human players too. So there is a human player on each alliance who is able to kind of put the cones and cubes on the loading zone, and they seem to more often than not have the costumes.
I was going to say, if you're looking to improve your wardrobe and your look, coming here to look at these outfits probably is not the way to go.
All right, 469 missing the second cube. 910 gets their second cube, but they're not going to score it. Are we going to get 2 balances, though? Yes. So very even after auto mode. I think we're going to be tied.
That's the Blue Alliance 71-92, the Blue Thunderneers.
So now what we want to see the Blue Alliance do a better job of cycling through that loading zone. They had some traffic jams there in their first match that caused them some problems. Thus far, it's looking a little bit better. It also looks like they shifted 71-92 over to a defensive role, maybe in order to clean up the loading zone.
The Swartz Creek Dragonators machine, Red Alliance 92-37, having a challenge with a cone drop that ends up not on the pole.
Yeah, and it's salvageable as long as you're able to get that game piece on the floor. Also, penalty on red. I think it was contact in a protected zone. And we've got 217 stuck on their ramp. So the blue row, 469, sorry, stuck on the edge of the ramp. And the contact was made by that red robot who cannot make contact when they're in that zone. This is going to be an interesting call. I don't know if this is going to stick as a 5-point penalty or if it's going to be more impactful. That's another 5-point penalty and another 5-point penalty, and they are stuck way in the area they can't be.
But the Las Gorillas machine able to navigate off of that charging station.
Yeah, very well done by the drivers. It's tippy there, too, so you got to be careful. Now, every time this robot gets hit, they're still stuck in there. Every time they get hit, it's another 5-point penalty, and they're blocking part of the rack. So hitting them is not just fishing for penalties. Like, they are in the way here. And so 469 really didn't have a choice. They need to get in position to score as fast as possible. So you could theoretically sit over there and just tap them nonstop over and over again. There is a rule against doing that. So you can't do anything just to draw a foul, but like they're in the way. So there is legitimate reason for our Blue Alliance robots to be in that spot.
Well, the Blue Alliance has almost doubled their lead on the Red Alliance, so.
And we're going to see now if Blue can pull off the triple balance. That's the last thing they want to get. Wow, and that was fast. That was too fast.
Well, they have the advantage of knowing they don't need to, time is their ally.
Yeah. So
not
you can,
their enemy.
You can see a cone in 217's grip means they could have scored that, pushed the balance a little bit later. But they had some issues with that triple balance in the first match, and so it looks like they really just wanted to lock it down.
So the Red Alliance looks like they're going to come up very short.
Yeah, I mean, look, the robot broke. They lost one of their offensive robots, and it broke in the worst possible spot. So a ton of penalties are going to make it so that, really you're not coming back 3v2 with that many penalties.
So they'll take a look at those machines, and we'll take a look back at how this all played out. And the initial cone drop as the Blue Alliance continues to
and there we go. So that
lay
was
it all out.
We saw 469 kind of actually, it was their own fault. They drove off the side of the ramp on their own. I do think there was a little bit of an extra problem having that robot there, because they would not have gone over the ramp if they could have avoided, right, if that robot wasn't there. They would not have gone over the ramp. But at the end, they did a nice job of getting up and balanced and a nice job of getting free so that they could keep scoring.
So that wraps it up, and you can see 140 to 184.
Yeah, Red, just not enough scoring potential without that third robot able to contribute. They lost them fairly early in the match. For Alliance number 3, look, that's a good match. They had some more hiccups. 140 with 20 penalty points, still not enough. They're going to have to find some more points somewhere.
So Las Gorillas, Thunder Chickens, and Blue Thunderneers as we take a look at the highlights and watch the Red Alliance, and they just really could not put their A game together in this match.
But this auto mode was great. 9-10 going out, getting a second cube, and getting the balance here, doing a lot of work for this Red Alliance in auto mode. 55-30 not leaving was the 3-point difference we saw. Leaving that zone at the beginning is worth 3 points. On the other side, 469 not getting the second cube. They probably could have used that. They will probably need that as this tournament moves on as well. And then here we see where they're stuck. This is just a really good job of that driver, of that whole drive team, finding places to go. You see them shifting the arm back and forth here. That's changing the balance of the robot in order to kind of find a way to get some wheels on the ground so they can drive forward.
Let's go downstairs and bring in Kaylee Marentet.
Hey guys, I have Brendan from 217. Brendan, you guys had a Red Alliance bot over there. Tell me how it was trying to navigate around that.
So it was tough. We were playing our second match, dropped down to the lower bracket after our first one, which is the first for us this season. This is our third competition, and that was a pretty big shock to us. So playing against the Red Alliance in this one, we had a few main concerns, especially on defense. So we worked out a pretty decent strategy with our Alliance to go take them out, give us some leeway, and we were able to make the runs in.
So that switching that robot to a defensive position, your third robot there, was that anything to do with just a specific matchup versus Alliance, or we saw some traffic jams in your loading zone? Were you trying to accommodate for that?
So coming into this match, we kind of learned off the first one. We had a few main issues with both getting up in the end game. So we switched our strategy up to have some robots move around quicker, get that third bot especially up there, because it seemed that there was some miscommunication the first time, so we got that sorted out with them. in terms of switching them to defense, we think that it helped clear up our congestion in those main areas, just because having 3 robots all packing in, it was definitely chaotic. So switching number 3 out to be more offensive gave us the chance to actually get in ourselves, and while helping to keep the score down on the other Lions. We had a few main worries, so we're glad we mitigated them.
All right, thanks so much. Congratulations on that win.
Thank you.
Dan and Dan.
Thank you, Kaylee. And now we roll into another match, match 7. We're starting to whittle out the field here. Avondale Grand Blanc, part of the Red Alliance, and then the Blue Alliance is a Center for Innovation. Holly and Bentley Sr.
Yep, so we're back to the upper bracket. These teams have not lost yet, so a loss here would not eliminate them. And we are back looking at our number 1 alliance, who is the odds-on favorite to win this event, but had plenty of issues in their first match that they've got to show us they've figured out. The broken robot, we want to see 2337 come out here fully functional. Looks like they're still around that robot, still kind of got their hands in it. And now they're backing away. So hopefully that thing is running and able to score. They did load a cone, so that's always a good sign. Sometimes if the robot's in really bad shape, you don't even load that auto mode piece.
Dan, one question about preparation. Obviously, when these kids have to make changes on site in real time on Saturdays, that's tricky. Did they ever do like practices where you might just be presented with a machine that is not 100% functional, and then boom, you got to figure that out and make that change, or is that too big of a stretch?
I don't know that teams will sort of manufacture those situations. What we used to do was, while driver practicing, the robot would break, and we would treat it kind of like, you know, it is, yeah. So let's diagnose it fast and fix it fast. And so we got a lot of practice from that. We also would finish those matches when it broke too. So what can your robot still do if this piece is broken? So you're ready to make those audibles.
Right, well done. So thumbs up and double thumbs up.
It's got to be twice as good as 1 thumbs up. 2337, wow, dropped their cone, not in the right spot, missed their second pickup, missed their third pickup, but Avondale 35-38 gets their second score here.
And
nice
the Red Alliance Engineers robot balancing very nicely on the charge station, and now we go into teleop.
So our Red Alliance here, number 1 alliance, had the chance to take a lead in auto mode. They got 2 points. That's not as big of a lead as it could have been, and now we're going to see. Looks like that was a blue flag, so we're going to see a penalty on blue here. I don't know if they were inside the loading zone, but I can't see anything else that would have been. There was some contact there. 1684 just flying back and forth across the field. They have got to be fast here in order to keep up with the big scores on red. 2337 pushing a cone in and playing defense. So it is not fixed. That robot is not fixed.
Yeah, the Robo Jackets Red Alliance robot 35-38 playing some good defense.
Yep, so 35-38 trying to get through 56-12. Meanwhile, 23-37 is bringing some big hits here on the middle of the field.
Cue drop there for the Robo Jackets from Avondale High School.
Yep, penalty on red. Engineers were in the protected loading zone, so they gave the penalty back. And this time, 1684 does a good job to spin around. Close match. Blue's starting to pull away, though.
Lots of time left, though, but you can see it's still wide open.
Yeah, so blue is up a little bit. Blue has got to get 3 more game pieces scored high. Red's got 3 more empty spots up high as well, but blue has got 2 links not claimed yet. So they're about to get a link here. There's going to be a 15-point swing as they scored 2 high goals and completed a link. And they've got 1 more link left on the top row that they should pick up right here.
The Blue Alliance Chimera's machine grabbing a cone and dropping it on that lower tier.
So we'll see here, 72-11, and they're going to balance here. 56-12 at some point as well, lost connection. So we were looking at a 2v3. but one of the robots was not able to play offense the way that you would expect.
So the Blue Alliance and Red Alliance, 2 robots each on their charge stations. As we wrap it up, and boy, look at the score. This is going to be very, very tight.
My guess is we needed the Red Alliance to have 3 up and balanced in order to come back from the deficit they were seeing. This is that auto mode where 2337 again came up empty. This is when we found out there was still an issue with that gripper. 1684, very good. And they were flying back and forth across the field here. And you can see this was where they took the lead. Those 2 drops up high completed the top row, gave them that extra link there. And so that was 15-point swing, and that's what put them in the lead to stay until endgame. And there were penalties that might be discussed, so we have to wait for the final score.
All 6 of those robots look to be moving very efficiently. There wasn't like 1 or 2 that was really down too much, was there?
Not until we saw 56-12,
Right, okay.
I believe it was. Lost connection to the field. Probably lost power temporarily and stuff was rebooting. So that's something they're going to have to check out the wiring. But yeah. And when you see a 2337, which was the first overall pick of the entire draft, so presumably the best or second best robot here, when they have to play defense, you're going to see good defense being played. And that is an experienced drive team, so they're able to kind of handle those situations where they need to switch their role very well.
Ooh, very close. A Blue Alliance win. Only by 3 points, though. That is about as close as you can make it.
Yeah, so they needed to get that extra balance there from their 3rd robot. If they had 3 robots up in balance, they could have overcome all of the issues and still taken the win.
Let's swing downstairs and join Kaylee Marentet.
Hey guys, I have Millie from the Blue Alliance. Millie, very, very close match there. What do you think the difference was between the Blue Alliance and Red Alliance here?
I think the difference in this match was some of the robots on the Red Alliance weren't fully operational. If they were operational, I think they may have had the match. But other than that, I just think everyone just on our alliance worked really well together and came back from that previous match and improved a lot.
And do you have any idea what happened to 56-12? Looks like they lost connection sometime towards the end of the match there.
I'm not completely sure. I haven't had a chance to talk to them. I just ran over from seeing the score. So,
is there anything you guys want to change heading into the next match?
Not really. I think everything we got dialed down and perfect.
All right. Thanks. Congratulations on that win.
Thank you.
Back upstairs.
Thank you, Kaylee.
So 115 to 118 is a very low score kind of on both sides.
Did you say, I'm sorry, repeat that?
118 to 115, not a very high score from either side.
Okay.
We want to see 130s, 140s really to make your mark on it.
So here's our autonomous period. I'm sorry, teleop.
Yeah, this is autonomous. Yeah,
autonomous. Okay.
Yep. 2337. The gripper doesn't work, but their drive is still good. Look at this, balanced. So they were still able to kind of drive their whole pattern and get the balance. But here we can see they've switched to that defensive posture there. So we saw the ref waving the flag in the foreground. That was contact, I think, outside of the bumper perimeter, which, I'm not sure that I saw that foul, but looks like that's what it was called. 35-38 is just so smooth crossing the field. Their driver is excellent at dodging around stuff and not wasting any time.
Here's the balance at the end. Only 2 Blue Alliance robots.
Yep, best they can do because their 3rd robot was not functional. Meanwhile, Red, I think same thing, right? 78-56. They're struggling to turn and get in position there, so they were only able to go with 2. And they had to kind of hope it was enough, and it wasn't.
So that's our closest match of the day, but now we'll roll into match 8 with the Crew, the Atombots, and the Alcona Toolcats. That's the Red Alliance. And then the Blue Alliance is Perry, Royal Oak, and International Academy of Macomb.
Yep, and we will draw your attention back to on the number 2 Alliance, 7769 was unable to play offense in their first match. They also switched to defense. So that's going to be another robot to look for. They've got to get that fixed if they want to make a deep run here.
And here we go in the autonomous period. Teleop, sorry.
Yep, so we saw a quick score from 7-7-6-9. They were not able to get the second piece or the third game piece. Meanwhile, it looks like on blue, one of the ground ones, cubes, not quite in, so they're not going to get the bonus point for that.
The 1188 Blue Alliance machine, the Ravens, snatching a cone and extending that arm. Wow.
A little bit of a poor control there. I don't know.
Little too much action there.
Yeah, I wonder if that was software, if they were running through some preset positions and it just ran away from them, because it looks like they reset and then went back and scored.
Red Alliance has all three machines dropping those cubes and cones.
Yeah, very smart from 55-25. What they're doing, we've seen some congestion issues in the loading zone, so they're actually trying to play for some of the loose game pieces on the middle of the field. But they ran out of time to grab that one before 43-84 came busting through.
The Blue Alliance Perry Rambot's machine got hit hard, so again, these machines, when they've got active speed, those bumps can be pretty significant. We haven't had any tips yet, but I may have jinxed it. We'll see.
We'll see. It is right now, blue and red, both sides are kind of a little bit short on that top row. Red's got 5 up there, including 1 link. Blue's only got 4. But adding this cone here, 65-48, is big. That gives them the opportunity to finish a link with their next game piece if somebody can get across with a cube.
The Adam Bots machine looking good. The crew 77-69 for the Red Alliance. Another fast-moving machine. They just drop a cube on the top tier.
Blue needs to get a cube across the field to finish another link up high. So 43-84 is going to have to do that. It's going to be late. They're going to have to balance very, very late into this match to come back, blue. So this should be 15 points here if they can both score. And now they've got to go. 10 seconds is not a lot of time. But they need all of these points. Well done.
Great balancing by both alliances.
Yep, so still might not have been enough, but a good job by blue to stick around to get those last couple scores. And we can see the Red Alliance, I mean, their grid is got a lot of pieces scored, but they're like a lot in the middle and a lot on the bottom. But what they did do was they did a very good job of finishing every link that they could. Here's that auto mode. Or sorry, just after auto mode. A little bit of a miss there from 7769. And a little bit of traffic here. This is the very end of the match, so they need both of these. See, 65-48 sees what's happening, knows they got to get to the other side of the ramp in order to leave space for their partners. And they go up and just first try balance it.
Look at that reaction at the end, too. They knew they nailed it right down the stretch.
Yeah, so this Red Alliance was ahead going into endgame, so they had to feel confident as long as they hit their triple balance, they were going to be okay.
So our number 2 alliance, 140 points. Blue Alliance, no shame with 123, but it's the grid points that end up maybe making a big difference. Let's go downstairs and connect with Kaylee.
Hey guys, I have one of those celebratory members, Andy from 245 from the Alliance. Tell me, what were you guys trying to focus on in that game?
Yeah, so we were just trying to focus on scoring links. That was our primary goal. Then we wanted to climb in endgame, get the triple climb for the points.
So we saw a lot of links, but a lot of them not on the top row of the grid. Are you prioritizing grids more than getting those high points?
Yeah, we were. When you score a link, you get more points. So we were prioritizing just finishing the links we started.
Okay. What do you want to tell your team members after that? You guys had a big celebratory hug.
Oh, I just told them they did a great job and that we can keep it up and win it.
What's your mindset going into the next match?
Our mindset? Just play our game. Don't let anything affect us and just stay calm.
All right. Congratulations on that win, Andy.
Thank
Dan
you.
and Dan.
Kaylee, thank you. And let's look at our highlight package from this match 8. Autonomous.
Slight miss from 65-48, and the problem is it rolled over that blue line, so they actually lost out on the autonomous bonus point, but a good balance there. And then on red, This time 7769 is functional, but cannot quite line up for that second and third cube. We see 5525 doing a good job. Like I said, they were grabbing these cubes on the middle of the field to stay out of the way of their alliance partners trying to use the loading station. And doing a good job here of kind of waiting as well. You can, if everybody tries to score at the same time and you end up hitting each other, then it's going to take longer than if you just give your partner a second to score before you get in there.
And here's the balancing at the end as everybody tries to get on the charging station. Both teams did well.
Yep, Red was able to go earlier because they had the lead. And you see they did need a second attempt there. Then Blue coming up later. We got, what, 2 or 3 seconds left here at the end of the match after that balance.
Let's update our brackets. So we are now into round 3.
Yep, so we'll be looking at Alliance 5 versus 6 and 1 versus 3 in the lower bracket. So those will be elimination matches. Alliance 1, if 23-37 is not fixed for the next match, it could be a problem. Alliance 3 is no slouch. They have a lot of offensive ability on that alliance, so if they can figure it out, without a scoring robot there, it's going to be hard for Alliance number 1. And sort of their last match was their one gimme, right? Where the robot didn't work. That was their one chance to lose, and now they've got to be dialed in for the rest of the tournament.
Let's go downstairs to Kaylee. She's talking with one of the rookie mentors today here at Athens.
I have Megan, a mentor with 9237 here with us. Megan, how are you feeling today?
I'm excited.
Good, good. So, Megan, your team, this is a first year for your guys' team. Tell me about the journey that 9237 has had with First.
Right, so 9237 is for Swartz Creek High School. We actually used to have a team. This is our first year as 9237. In 2018, we had a team that was 1-2-4-3. And then some things happened with the mentor. They were trying to pass it off to somebody else, and then COVID happened, and that kind of, messed up a lot of different things. Yes. But it just was the right choice for Swartz Creek to come back as a rookie team to make sure that we had the funds to be able to have everything for the season.
Why come back? Why create it again?
I stepped up because I know that First is a great program. I've volunteered with First since I think 2017 or 2018 was my first year volunteering. And I think that it brings a lot of good opportunities for students, hands-on skills, along with just relationship skills, working with people. And so I knew that the program was great. I don't really have experience. I never did robotics in high school. So my only experience is volunteering, but I know a lot of people through that, and I figured with the help of them and what I kind of know, I could get it done.
Awesome. So you are a mentor.
Yes.
What have you learned through being a mentor with First?
A lot of different things. I'm a non-technical mentor too. Like, I have a humanities degree, so this is a lot out of my wheelhouse, but I've learned fabrication this year. I've learned how to try to keep my kids going, when they get a little,
maybe
upset
down,
or we're having a problem, and we're trying to work through it. So I've had to rally the team. There's lots of learning experiences for me and the students, like every day. Like, I just learned something about our pulley system that was on our robot. Like, our wire slipped off of it, and I had to learn how to put it back on because one of our other mentors was preoccupied.
What advice would you have to others that maybe want to be a mentor?
If you don't have experience, don't let it stop you, because you have so many people in the First community that are willing to help and step up. Like, we work out of Kettering University's Robotics Center, so we work there with like 9 other teams. And throughout our build season, there was countless times that we had to ask other teams for help. And my students, since they don't have experience either, were like, well, why would they want to help us? We're competing against them. And I was like, listen, this is the First ethos. Like, they love to help everybody. It's a part of the whole mission of First, is to build each other up so that way you can be your best to go out and compete.
How is it being in that space with 9 other teams?
Amazing. I thought it would be a little intimidating because we are such a new team, but honestly, they have been able to give us great advice and help us with our strategy while we play the game, and along with just building in general. So it's been a great environment to work in.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're glad you're here.
I'm excited to be here.
All right. Thank you, Megan, so much. All right. Back up to you guys.
And we'll take a timeout here at Athens High School. Yeah, the costumes are great, and the activity on the court is outstanding as well on the field here at Athens High School. More in a moment as we continue from Troy. It's our first robotics competition. Back in a moment.
The Motor City Alliance was formed in order to address the needs that we were seeing in the city of Detroit, where we saw lots of public schools that were working in silos and didn't have the support they needed to really excel in STEM. We have seen tremendous change in our students, particularly over the past year as the Motor City Alliance has accelerated our efforts.
Every year we get more and more involved. We do a lot of outreach. We have students working with kids one-on-one. We are starting teams, starting things like the Motor City Alliance, doing whatever we can to allow that enthusiasm that comes through that exploration and innovation to pass that on to the next generation.
Robotics helps skills like innovation and creativity by basically nurturing them. So robotics helps to build on those skills and even broaden them to the point where nothing limits your imagination or creativity.
The reason why we're able to hold a large event with 20 to 30 teams are because of the financial resources that DTE is bringing to bear. DTE is absolutely crucial into us being successful here in Michigan and here in Detroit.
At Consumers Energy, we believe change is empowering, powering both your home and your business. Change is progress, with a modernized grid that can detect outages and restore power within seconds. Change is reliable. We're talking preventing over 35,000 outages last year reliable. And change is enduring, like our dedication to keep your power running, just as it should. Consumers Energy, a force for you, a force of change.
Back here in Troy at the First in Michigan District event. A #1 alliance, #1 seeded alliance against a #3 seeded alliance. So this is, we're getting down to the big dogs here at the tail end of this here with more matches to come, but the field is thinning out.
It's actually a little bit early for this matchup. We wouldn't expect to see this for at least another round. Both of these alliances having a couple hiccups, dropping down to the lower bracket.
But it's, you know, nothing it hasn't taken them so far out of the mix that they can't rally and get together and make a big switch.
Yeah, and the good news for the Red Alliance, 2337, the robot that has been having issues scoring, was the first robot on the field in position ready to go. So that is probably a good sign that they have the rest of the issues fixed here.
Yeah, there is no quit in these teams. Once you get to March, now we're into April. Anything can happen. We're always looking for ways to create the NCAA basketball tournament analogies along with robotics. Women's basketball, the top-seeded South Carolina team got laid out by Caitlin Clark last night for Iowa.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
It was. Let's take a look at the bracket again and see where we're at. We're moving into round 3.
Yeah, and again, we would have expected probably #1 not to have dropped down for another match or two, but they are down here. So this is win or go home for Alliance 1 and Alliance 3. Then we'll have a win or go home for 6 versus 5. And then we'll get back to the upper bracket to see who is going to be our first finalist.
Yeah, so it's not it's not as simple as just saying, well, we're a higher seed and we can just kind of cruise.
Yeah, no, and robot problems can happen to anybody. So if there are still lingering robot issues for either of these alliances, it's going to be a problem. We'll see blue as well. They've got to kind of put their highest score, I would guess, of the day out here, which just means execution. Watch 469, watch 217. They have to execute here. Meanwhile, on red, are they going to get any of their extra attempts? That's a miss and a miss, and now 23-37 does get one extra game piece scored. That's going to be a 4-point advantage for them, making up, I think, for their one robot not moving.
So still a good performances by these alliances in the autonomous period.
Yep, and now we see 23-37, one of the first robots to get back across with a cone. A little bit, they're normally faster than that, and they did drop it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the drivers rattled a little bit. That should have been a penalty. I don't know if any ref saw it.
Good defense by the Blue Thunderneers, 71-92 Blue Machine.
Looks like we did get the call, so there's one penalty on red, giving blue a few extra points. 71-32, doing a good job holding defense there. Kind of holding up 23-37 for a little bit. Like, it's hard to play defense. This is an open field. So anytime you can hold somebody up for a few seconds, it's good.
And the Thunder Chickens robot, the blue 217, with nice cone placement there. And again, it's working from the top row down.
Yep, completed full top row for the Blue Alliance. Red, not there yet.
86-66. Now the Blue Alliance sees that lead almost cut in half.
Oh, careful there. Defense went too deep. But then they got the pin call. And you know what? That's 5 points. It did slow them down a lot, though. And Engine Nerds now coming back 23-37, finishing that top grid for red. So we've got top grids on both sides.
The Engine Nerds machine, that 23-37 red's got that arm extension that just explodes out.
Yep. Another penalty here on blue.
Now they're going to work on the lower tier to drop that cone, but a little bit of a slow transition there for the Red Alliance. Boy, we are right on top of this.
See, it looks like blue is going for their balance early. They might have needed to score a couple more game pieces, one more game piece each. It's gonna, if blue balances and red balances, then red wins. So 13 seconds here for red to get this balance, or it could turn around.
Oh, they did great.
And they got it.
Wow. I was going to say that transition was almost flawless.
Yep, 4 seconds left on the clock. We'll see if any of the penalties change, but red did have a small lead, and we have double, triple balances here.
So again, the violations, let's take a look at least at one of them.
Oh, big hit there in the middle of the field. We'll see, that one actually is a clean hit. I don't believe there's any penalties for that. We see 469 dropping it off nicely here. And there, 23-37, just at the end of that collet, 23-37 got hit inside the blue loading zone. That's a penalty. But here, 71-92 gets pushed a little bit deep, and that's a penalty on them as well. We'll see 23-37 showing that their robot is back and is working.
So they're tabulating the final scores. Here we go, 158. Talk about monster points. I think that's the highest we've seen all weekend, and last weekend too.
It is, and it also looks like they jumped up more than we expected, so there was probably a link that was not scored yet on the real-time scoring. So this match looked a lot closer going into endgame per the scoreboard, but 158 is a monster score. 10 points in penalties, but still 148 unpenalized is a great score.
Let's go downstairs to Kaylee.
Hey guys, I have Christian here from 23-37. Christian, you guys had some penalties there. Tell me about that.
We were getting some heavy defense that was pushing us around, and of course going into your opponent's loading zone with contact can result in a penalty, so we were trying to avoid those to the best of our ability, but it's always a risk when you're in that area, and especially for quick cycling. We were trying to cut through there for the time advantage it offered.
Yep, we saw a lot of issues with your robot in the first two matches. Is everything fixed now? Is it good?
I'm going to go with yes, but it's hesitant. So first match, we had a bit of an auton fumble where we bumped into our partner and broke our intake. We thought it was only one part, turned out to be two. It was a bit harder to fix. We rushed to get it done before our next match. Forgot to check if a wire was plugged in, so that's what cost us in that second match.
Is that going to be something that you can easily fix before heading into the next round?
It is. We've got a zip tie on there now to make sure that wire never comes unplugged again, hopefully. And we're doing more thorough checks to make sure all motors are running rather than just half of them.
All right, well, congratulations on that win.
Thank you.
Good luck in the next round. Dan and Dan?
All right, Kaylee, off to the highlights we go. 158 points. Autonomous does not come easy.
And 158 points, and they left some points on the table. 23-37 did get that second cube, but they go for a third, didn't get it this time, and 35-38 goes for a third and didn't get it this time. As well, 469 making a second stab at that cube was not quite in the cards for them there. But a good balance from 217. And then here we see during the match a big hit. 469 crossing the field. Looked like they were aiming for contact there, and they came out a little bit better, right? They get to their scoring zone a little bit faster, and that's something else you can do if you are confident. All right, so here's a penalty. You cannot be in the other team's colored areas, so the scoring zone and the loading zone. If you're in there and touch another robot, that will be a penalty. This balance was a little bit early. I think 469 and 217 probably both had to really, really push late in the match to get an extra cube. But Alliance number 1 is showing it there in the end game. Balance, no problem. Plenty of time to spare, even though they went super late.
Yeah, 158 points. That is the best score we've seen. And now we have a matchup between an Alliance number 5 and Alliance number 6. So this should be very even and competitive as well.
You have two relatively evenly matched alliances here. All three robots contribute offensively on both of these alliances. So we might see no defensive robots here if nothing goes wrong.
Strengths of the Red Alliance machines here in this next match, Dan?
It's really a tale of distributed scoring. All three of these robots are going to have to put up several game pieces here. So what we need to watch for this alliance is, because they are all playing offense, or have been all playing offense, they need to do a good job of cycling through the loading zone, cycling through the scoring zone, and not getting in each other's way. We saw in their first match they put up 128. Their second match they put up 123. So they've been fairly consistent. That might be enough for this match. They're playing against Alliance number 5, who's got a 117 and a 126 under their belts. So very evenly matched between these two alliances. But I think they're both going to need to find a few extra game pieces here and there, because, I mean, they're going to play that Alliance number 1 who just put up the 158. So a little bit of it is you have to win this match, and you don't want to look ahead and cost yourself a match, but also know that, you know, if they don't find a few more ways to score game pieces, they might have to mix it up or change up their strategy when they go against the number 1 alliance next.
So we saw the Blue Alliance, and here's the number 6 Alliance, the Perry Rambots, the Royal Oak Ravens, and International Academy of Macomb, the Benzene Bots.
And it is 1188 that I believe was the captain of this alliance. They were the kind of the top robot here. They do a pretty good job of picking up game pieces in the middle of the field. So there is that starting area in the middle of the field where you can go for them in auto, you can go for them in teleop, but there's 8 extra game pieces that you don't have to drive across the entire field to get. So if you are efficient at getting there and picking them up, it can be an advantage. That said, we have seen lots of teams try to pick them up, struggle, get bumped around, maybe have some traffic, and spend more time looking for the floor pickup than it would have taken to just cross the whole field to begin with. But it does keep one of the robots out of the loading zone for a bit and help you kind of work that traffic.
Well, they are certainly continuing to try to peak. Boy, 158. I mean, it's not just a number. That sends a message to everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, that's a solid, 18 points over the next highest score. All right.
And we swing into Autonomous.
One miss from Red. All 3 from blue are scored. Looks like red is going to get that on the low spot, though, so that doesn't really hurt them too much.
And good balance by the Perry Rambots machine.
It looks like red not quite balanced at the end, so they're going to get 8 points for that instead of 12. So blue with a bit of a lead here.
That 65-48 red machine, the Rambots, has an interesting arm that will actually go down all the way on the ground to pick up.
And we're seeing some issues here loading for 50-53, having a hard time getting that cube in position. And they've got to get out of there before their 2 partners come in here, just in time. Meanwhile, 1188 stuck on the side of the ramp in red. They are doing kind of what we saw 469 do earlier, shaking that arm around, just trying to shift the CG of that robot enough.
Now they get some help.
Yep.
Teamwork on display, but time is lost, and that's meaningful.
Yeah, and that was, you know, I think they needed to come faster to save them. We'll see, though, but it is a 30-point deficit now that they're playing against. Blue's got only 1 game piece left, 1 slot left on the top of the grid. Again, the top of the grid worth the most points, 5 points for a game piece scored there versus 3 points for the middle and 2 points for the floor. 50-53, some patience, waiting for their teammate to get clear, but a little bit of miscommunication there. You got to know which direction you're dodging. You can't have those crowd moments where you both step to the left, then you both step to the right, and then, you know.
So a little cube drop there, a little bit of a delay in the cube drop. Boy, there's a interesting
trying to shake it free.
Non-activity. Yeah, that's...
We don't know if that's stuck. We saw a cube get stuck in that robot earlier, or if there's some damage to that robot.
So they're going to leave that on the table, and really it's such a lead for the Blue Alliance. They're not going to sweat over leaving 1 cube off.
Yeah, no, they just need to get their balance here. That should ice it. In fact, even if they don't balance, as long as they're on the ramp at the end, they're good. And they're balanced with 15 seconds left. Red will respond with, very clean balance. 65-48 doing a nice job of pulling up to exactly the right spot there.
Still lots to make up, though, point-wise.
Yeah.
But
it looks to not be enough, but well-executed endgame nonetheless.
And not a huge point splash by either team.
Yeah, we'll see from the scoreboard that we see here, it should go up by about 30 points or by 30 points per team, and then any other missed points. So it's going to be, I think, their highest scores, maybe for both of these alliances. And this is 1188 here being stuck on the side of the ramp. And that was a good job by 65-48 coming over to help get them free. Needed to do that, but again, that alone might have cost them the match, just being stuck there for a little bit too long. It is dangerous when you go across this ramp instead of the sides.
There's the cube that got stuck. Yeah, anything that burns time is your most meaningful challenge.
And that's why you'll see teams go around the ramp when possible, because it is faster. You don't have to slow down to be careful on the ramp, but also, I mean, the risk of falling off the side. We've seen 2 teams fall off the side already, and that has been something to watch out for.
Here's how the points stack up. Again, you're right, a big healthy bump of 30 points to the Blue Alliance, 131 to 102, and really it was the grid scoring that made the difference.
Yeah. I mean, it just 1188 being out of commission for that little bit of time meant that they were going to have a hard time catching up. Good execution we saw from all 3 of the Blue Alliance robots until 50-53 with the jammed cube. So don't forget, that jammed cube means there is some more potential here. Number 5 could go even higher.
Let's join Kaylee Marentet downstairs.
Hey guys, I have Peyton from the Blue Alliance here. Peyton, what are you thinking after that win?
Oh, it was a great win. I'm so happy with how we played, and our alliance has been so good together.
Yeah, so looking ahead now, you're going to be facing off against the number 1 seeded alliance. Do you have any strategic ideas for what you might want to change going up against them?
We're just going to go out and play hard, deliver some big hits to them whenever we can, and just do good.
All right, well, thank you. Congratulations on that win.
Thank you.
Dan and Dan?
Okay, thank you. As we continue to move swiftly, and we have our highlight package from this match 10.
We saw that 1188 missing, but the cube or the cone did stay in a zone, so you get the bonus point for autonomously scoring it. And 6548, I think, just did not quite balance there. Blue gets all 3 of theirs here. And 3534 does get the balance, I think, eventually. There it is. The light's lighting up. And this is a good job. You can see playing on opposite sides here. 3534 scoring on one side of the grid, 5660 on the other. And one more look at getting 1188 freed off the ramp. And finishing up that top row of the grid. So now, once you finish the top row, it's sort of like you have to assess the situation and figure out where you need to be scoring next. So there is a grid or a link here that gets finished off on the last second by 3534. So that's, or 5660, sorry, that's good.
And there's the last big push onto the charging station for the Red Alliance. And in the end, too little, too late. Blue Alliance wins. Downstairs to Kaylee.
Hey, thanks for joining us. I'm here with Chris. Chris is a referee. How are you feeling today?
Doing good so far, doing good.
All right. How long have you been a ref?
So I've been a ref since last year of the 2021 season, or excuse me, the 2022 season. I just signed up to be originally a field reset for this event last year, but I've heard that they didn't have enough referees, so they just put me in as a ref. And as a first-time ref, very nervous and didn't know what to expect. But ever since then, I've been volunteering as a referee, and I just absolutely love it. So,
what made you want to stick around? What in particular?
So I was a first alumni back in 2016 through the 2019 season as a student, and because this program has given me so much of the experience, the opportunities, and the personal growth to make me who I am now, I felt that it's important for me to volunteer and to give back to the program that has already given me so much to work with, and to provide the students that same experience, that same opportunity that I had when I was a student. So,
obviously lots of positivity and good times with being a referee. What do you think are some of the hardest parts about being a ref?
Some of the hardest parts as a referee is to call some of the difficult calls. For example, this year we've had a lot of instances where teams would be near their opponent's loading station, and there'd be just enough spacing or enough contact in their own loading zone to where we have to call those hits, call those fouls, and teams sometimes they get a little bit frustrated, annoyed for calls that they either did not see or did see, and it's those instances where it's difficult, but we have to make sure that everyone has the fair, same playing field and experience that each team gets the opportunity to play for. So,
what do you think are some of the strangest or craziest things that you've seen out on the field as your time as a ref?
So a lot of the strangest calls that I've seen are a lot of tipping robots, where some of the teams are top heavy, and some of the lower level bots pushes another robot, and they're just about to tip over, but as they're tipping over, their alliance partner helps them out, pushes them right back up so that way they can continue to keep playing the match, which is a little bit strange that I've seen, but shows extraordinary gracious professionalism between the teams. So,
as a referee, you probably see a lot of the different ways that teams change their tactics too, right?
Yes, absolutely. So during the beginning of the season, everyone is simply cycling throughout the field, collecting game pieces, and just simply scoring. However, throughout this season, as the game has evolved, we're seeing a lot more defense and a lot more strategic plays of exactly what game pieces are being obtained, as well as where are they specifically supposed to be placed. So there's more strategy behind this game as we're heading into the state championships and the world championships.
What would be your advice to students who might be interested in being a referee? What did you wish you knew then that you know now?
The biggest thing I wish I would have known is to read the game manual. The game manual has all the official rulings, wording, and clarifications of what teams are allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. So that's something I would wish that I would have known, but I would highly recommend anybody to volunteer as a referee because it's such a rewarding experience, and it's unlike anything that I've ever done in the past, and it's just the level of excitement and the level of competition and gracious professionalism that I don't think any other position gets to see other than to be a referee, which is the reasons why I would highly recommend anyone to at least try for it.
A good front row seat.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us here today. All right, we are going to send it back up to you guys.
Yeah, not often that you see that kind of energy brought from an official.
That's true.
So he is definitely wound up and ready to unleash. And there he goes. Let's take a look at the brackets as we continue to navigate our way through. And as we move into round 4, we have, well, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty pretty soon here.
Yep. So we'll see. Our next match will be the upper bracket finals, I guess you could call it. So Alliance 2 versus Alliance 4. Winner of that is going to be in the finals, our first finalist. And then we'll drop down and we'll see 1 versus 5. So 1 versus 5 is going to be an interesting matchup. Again, Alliance number 1 has had 2 offensive robots and 1 mostly defensive robot, while Alliance 5 plays all 3 on offense, all out. So we'll see how those 2 teams match up.
Time out here in Athens. More when we come back.
A wire guard is the first responder to a downed wire. So whenever a customer calls in that they see a downed wire in their neighborhood, we are dispatched out to the wire, and we're the first responder to make sure the wire is safe.
More than 600 Consumers Energy employees protect our communities by serving as wire guards.
Being reliable means that if you call me, I show up. If you text me, I respond. If you need me, I'm there.
Consumers Energy, a force of change, a force for you.
We live in a world that doesn't slow down. A world that is constantly changing. When we pause for a moment to envision the future, we see what comes next is ours to create. How we move forward is up to us, and the destination is ours to shape. We need to do better for what matters most. We need to change for the ones we love, for a planet that needs our attention, and for generations that follow. Our desire to do better for everyone and everything inspires us to challenge the status quo, to push the boundaries of innovation. We're building a better future of mobility because getting home safely matters. A greener Earth matters. Expanded accessibility matters. Smarter, more connected mobility matters. At Magna, we believe what comes next is ours to create, because a better future of mobility matters to all of us.
It's a simple idea. Buy it in season, store it for winter. It's how you create the taste of home, and it's how we heat your home. We buy natural gas in the summer when prices are lowest, then store it away until winter when costs are typically higher, so you get those hot summer prices on the coldest days of the year. This winter, when you turn up the heat and pop the lid on your jam, remember, those sweet berries aren't the only taste of summer you're getting. Consumers Energy, a force for you, a force of change.
We continue at Athens High School here in Troy. And our field is pared down to, well, we're into match 11 now. So there's the scoring summary. This is a team that can really generate some big points. Boy, when you put up 158,
yeah,
you could definitely throw your chest out. And
that was Alliance 1, but
Yeah.
we're actually looking at Alliance 2 versus 4 for this match. So keep these numbers in mind. That's going to play in for our next match that we're going to see. But this match right here, Alliance 2 scored 111 when 77-69 was broken in their first match. When 77-69 was working in their second match, they put up 140.
so it's the autonomous period. See who can get the jump.
We saw a penalty on blue. I don't know what the penalty was for, but we are seeing that on the scoreboard. And it looked like a little bit of a miss from 245 in auto mode.
And the two Blue Alliance machines move into that loading zone to grab cones and try to generate that into some quick points.
56-12 doing a good job of getting in the way, really slowing down 55-25 and 245. But 77-69 just went right around them.
Well, this is a kind of a high energy offensive. Now we got a little contact at the center line, but looks like everybody's trying to maximize their point opportunities right now.
That was good too, crossing the field. Red is getting the better of, I think, the contact in the middle of the field every time. That one maybe was about even. See 7769 loading, but again, not afraid to hit each other every time they cross the open field. And that is a way to get an advantage. If you trust your robot to hold on to the game piece and your driver to get back after the collision quicker, you can gain a little bit of time by doing that on purpose.
The Red Alliance 56-12 robot, the Robo Raptors, causing a little havoc at the center line with some solid defense, not afraid to initiate contact. We got four robots all bumping into each other.
Red is almost done with the top of their grid. 72-11 here is going to finish it off. So all three links on top and all of the highest point scores are done for the Red Alliance. Blue leaving the top middle empty until now means that they are down on points despite being even-ish, I think maybe even up on scores. They are down on points because they went for the lower value, lower down points.
Blue Alliance look like they're ready to position on the charge station. Two robots. Boy, they need a third, though. They're trailing.
7769 was thinking about trying to get one last score, and they do, but unfortunately where they scored, it was low and it did not complete a link.
Ooh, but they got the balance.
Good balance for Red as well.
Yeah, it may not be enough to help the Blue Alliance, but still.
And just looking at the grid, we see some lost opportunities here. Blue Alliance has two game pieces in a row, but not a third. They've got two isolated game pieces, and they've got two game pieces in a row on the bottom as well. So there were two links to be had if they scored game pieces a little bit differently. Red as well, leaving another link that they could have completed. Here's the mess in the middle.
Yeah, a quagmire.
Yep. And again, it felt like every single one of those situations was just slightly favoring the Red Alliance. Alliance number 4 was just coming out a little bit ahead. And if that happens over and over again, every time you cross the field and you gain a second every time that happens, it's gonna turn into a legitimate lead.
And here's our final numbers. The Red Alliance, not a huge victory, but the grid points were enough to carry them into the next match.
And 140 is a pretty good score. They did get 5 penalty points, so 135 unpenalized, still good. They're gonna have to find a few more scores or hope that defense can continue working for them in the finals, but they are our first finalist.
Let's pick up our highlight package. Here's how things played out in autonomous.
Yep, we see that blue flag being waved again. I don't know what that penalty was for, and we're looking at the red side here. 56-12 not balancing the ramp in the middle, but being on top of it, so could have gotten a few more points there. I'm sure they're going to look at tweaking that for the finals. 245, also a little bit short of the balance.
And there's our Blue Alliance robot, the crew from Royal Oak, Oakland School's Technical Campus Southeast.
Yep, good defense there, but they do break through eventually, and this is good. They're going to score up high here to complete that link. A little scary.
They finished strong, but you know, again, there's good teams that will not advance. The Red Alliance, though, that you're watching here, very, very delicately balancing themselves. Down to Kaylee we go.
Hey guys, I'm here with Nathaniel from 7211. Nathaniel, Blue Alliance plays a lot of defensive game here. What did you guys think about that coming in?
We knew Adam Bots was a heavy hitter with them being big and heavy, so we used our new addition to Swerve Tribe to try and maneuver around them and cycle more pieces.
Gotcha. What do you think was the key in scoring those points here to get you this win?
Teamwork with Chimeras, knowing they're coming through the smooth side, so we ran bump side all game.
Is there anything you want to change or that you are going to focus on more going into the next match?
Hoping to get more cycles in and winning.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Daniel. Congratulations on that win. Dan and Dan.
Kaylee, thank you. Yeah, definitely a feel-good performance as we continue to move our way and navigate. We have things, kind of starting to set up very nicely. Again, one team already in the finals. Match 12 is going to winner of match 12 is going to advance it.
Yep. So and now it's basically do or die every match until the finals when we switch to best 2 out of 3. So Alliance 1, if Alliance 1 is going to make it to the finals and win this whole thing, they beat Alliance 3. They're playing Alliance 5. They will also have to play against Alliance 2 and Alliance 4. So if Alliance 1 wins this, they will have beaten the other 4 highest seeded alliances here.
Well, at this point, probably everybody has a certain layer of confidence, a certain base of confidence, if that's right. So when you get this deep that things are going well, and now it's just a matter of making sure that nothing is loose, left on the table, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and it sounds like, too, from our previous discussion with 2337, that they've got the issues solved. And the issue that it was, right, we saw the gripper break off. It was the second match where it still didn't work. That lingering issue is the one that can get to you. But it sounds like just not plugging the wire in. You can plug it in. You can have confidence now that it's fine. So expect to see a lot of confidence in those drivers as they build, right, from their last good match. Now they can really trust the robot. They know it's working. So expect them to come out and probably have a really good match here.
And we recap our scoring summary. So we're seeing, again, significant points, 120s, 130s, 140s as we pick it up here in the autonomous.
This Red Alliance 5 has scored more points every time they've taken the field, 117, then 126, then 131. But I think they're going to have to ratchet it up one more level here.
Not big numbers turned in the autonomous.
Going to be late on the balance points coming through. Blue did get the extra scores. We're pretty far away from the field, but I think I smell burning motor.
Well, you have a better sense of smell than I do, but well, what is that? So that doesn't cause any stoppage. You just play until it stops, right?
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know that it was from this match either. It might have been, some of the robots coming off the field after the last match. So we'll just have to watch and see. But everybody looks functional right now. Big mess in the middle of the field. 78-56 doing a good job on defense.
The Engineers grabbing that cone with speed, efficiency, and man, they can extend that arm. And there's the drop for points. Again, they go top row for a solid point production there, and they've opened up their lead by almost 20.
Yeah, we will see a couple opportunities for Red on the top row to finish and get some links, so they can close this gap up a little bit. You see 56-60 getting one of them. And 35-34 coming around here with another cube to hopefully finish the second. Meanwhile, 23-37, like we said, is doing a great job crossing the field, but that is longer than you want to see. They are normally faster than that. So a bit of a delay there. And the scores have closed a little bit.
See if that costs them at all in the long run. We see the Blue Alliance 35-38 Robo Jackets putting a little contact and slowing things down for the Red Alliance. Now there's a cone grab.
If I saw another red penalty, so that's aided Blue here, kind of in stretching their lead back out. I think 2 penalties now on Red. And this is good if they can do this. Synchronized scoring to complete the mid-row link there. A lot of points. That's 11 points there in one fell swoop, and they're going to balance early.
They're not wasting time. Red Alliance.
50-53 is dead on the field as well. They lost connection at some point while we were watching Blue score over there. So they're going for the double balance. They get the double. It's not going to be enough.
Well, they needed more than 2. But robot number 3, that's the Lakers from Our Lady of the Lakes.
Yeah, we do have a match under review flag showing. This means the referees are going to discuss some stuff. I don't think it's going to change the outcome of this match.
Oh,
big hit there.
Yeah, that's big.
And a good job by the 23-37 robot to hold onto the game piece. But again, a missed drop there.
And again, the value of having a machine that is not overly top heavy.
Yep. Yeah.
You cannot underscore it enough.
Very good triple balance here. And then carefully put that controller down. Don't bump anything. Actually, you should not put the controller down, by the way. You should be ready to make an adjustment if something happens.
Here's autonomous activity.
Yep, good start for Red. And a decent start for Blue. I think 35-38 is going to get a second game piece here as well. So we saw 23-37 do 2. 35-38 also doing 2. And we'll see. This was where they come in, finishing up some of their top links. And 50-53 is doing their best to try to slow this alliance down, but that was the moment. I think that's where they lost connection. You can see no lights on that robot. All the lights turned off. And I don't think it turned back on ever.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of points to review here when all the official tallying is done. Red Alliance, again, would it have made a difference to have that third robot? No. 167.
But again, keep in mind 20 penalty points.
Right.
So it's 147 unpenalized. But, you know, still very, very big score. Nobody else at this event thus far has put up a 147. So,
and even if they lose those penalty points, they're still, you know, a 20-point-ish win.
Yeah,
so.
Get very comfortable win for them. If 50-53 was up at the end of the match and they were able to add the third balance there, would have been 138 for the number 5 alliance, which would have been a very good score, but not good enough against this number 1 seed.
Any meaningful takeaways from that match?
I think that Alliance number 2 and Alliance number 4 are going to have to look very closely at whether they need to play defense or not, or whether they think they can get enough extra scoring out of their third robot. But that 167 and 158 in the last 2 matches from the number 1 alliance is going to be very hard for our last 2 alliances to match.
So we're getting down to crunch time here as the final matches are going to be played out here at Troy Athens High School. Let's go downstairs and reconnect with Kaylee Marintet.
Hey guys, we're here with Logan. How are you feeling after that win? That was a high scoring game.
Yeah, I'm feeling great about it.
What do you think led you guys to get that high score?
Just our passion for the game. We have been losing so much earlier. We just feel like we have to really go hard now that we have a chance to win this.
You guys, like you said, you have a chance to go hard. What's going to be your mentality? Obviously, it's coming down.
Yeah, just try as hard as we can. Not much I can say about it.
Okay. All right. Dan and Dan, back up to you guys.
Kaylee, thank you. Yeah, that's a confident group. And I guess they're just hoping now that can carry over into the next match.
Yeah, I mean, when you're putting up the biggest scores of the tournament, you don't have to change anything. You just keep doing what you're doing. It is everybody else's responsibility to adjust and try to figure out how to beat you.
Yeah, you want to be the lead dog, not the trailing dog.
Yep.
So we're going to get into some of the awards, and we will honor some of the great volunteers that are devoting their time and knowledge to the young kids who are trying to soak in. Let's go down to our PA announcer here at Troy Athens.
Between the bleachers, and I guess there's one right there that's removed, so I guess that's fine. If you're coming in from that side, you can walk through the curtain open area right there. If you're coming in from here on this side, please go out the hallway and enter through the robot entrance. And then once you walk through this area, enter through this gate, say hello to your judges. Hi, judges. Hello. Hello. And then go out this door for some pictures in front of the first banner, if you choose so. Without further ado, let's get some awards. The highest rookie seed award. This award celebrates the highest seeded rookie team at the conclusion of the qualifying rounds. Congrats, team number 9238. All right, is team 9238 coming? No? Okay, well, let's keep going. The Imagery Award is in honor of Jack Kamen, Dean's father, for his dedication to art, illustration, and his devotion to FIRST. This award celebrates attractiveness in engineering and outstanding visual aesthetic, integration of machine and team appearance. A unified message begins with a solid foundation of inspired students. Stone by stone, this team built a cohesive theme from the pit to the robot to the mascot and the school. They can handle any siege that challenges their castle. Congrats, team 65-66, the Battering Rams. The Gracious Professionalism Award celebrates outstanding demonstration of FIRST core values such as continuous gracious professionalism, working together both on and off the field of play. The winning team exemplifies the principles of FIRST: fairness, humility, positivity, and respect. This team is evolving into community leaders with extensive outreach and partnerships with organizations in their community. They gear up to help teams at competitions with creative and effective plans. They crave for solutions with their ongoing gracious professionalism. Congrats, team 2851 Revolution. The Team Spirit Award celebrates extraordinary enthusiasm and spirit through exceptional partnership and teamwork, furthering the objectives of FIRST. This team has a spirit that takes flight from school to community. They inspire sponsors, their school board, and community with a full house of both FTC and FLL teams. It's no gamble betting on this team. They are definitely working with a full deck. Congrats, Team 35-34, the House of Cards.
That's all the awards, and let's go down. Let's go downstairs and rejoin Kaylee Marentet.
Hey guys, we have Hannah with 245 joining us here today. Hannah, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. So Hannah is an ambassador for LGBTQ+ of FIRST, an organization. How important is it for FIRST to have an organization like this?
Very important. So LGBTQ+ teens specifically are a high-risk group for many different things, and especially in STEM fields, LGBTQ are underrepresented, and FIRST specifically is a really great space to have this organization because it's encouraging LGBTQ teens to join STEM fields. 81% of FIRST alumni end up pursuing a STEM major, so having this organization encouraging LGBTQ teens to go into STEM fields is great for representation in the field.
So you are an ambassador. Tell me what your role is.
So I carry out LGBTQ+ of FIRST has different tiers of involvement. Our team is a silver tier, and as an ambassador, I carry out the responsibilities of our team for our tier. So currently, what we do is we display promotional material, we print out pamphlets and business cards, as well as hand out pins. So we actually designed and printed this, and it helps teams get involved. We also host one meetup per season, and we spread the mission of LGBTQ+ of FIRST.
How do other teams and students get involved?
Well, you can always come up to us at competitions and talk to us. In our pamphlets, we have the websites linked. So here's the website, and you can contact them to become an ambassador. Like either you can apply yourself, or you can contact to apply for your team to become one of their tiers.
Gotcha. How did LGBTQ+ of FIRST come about?
So it started years ago with Kate. She was the original member who learned about it and got our team involved in it. And from then on, we've just been sort of building that within our team. She was the original one who was passing out pins, and I learned about it from her, actually. I got to talk to her at a competition, and she told me all about it. So that was really awesome.
I see you have some of those pins on right now. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so this is the pin that we hand out. It's the official LGBTQ+ of FIRST pin. This is their logo. I actually have one in my pockets if you want to see it.
Sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
very cool.
Mm-hmm. And then this is our official team pin. And then this one is just something that a team actually 3D printed and handed out.
Oh, that is awesome. I love that. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to tell students who might want to get involved but just aren't sure how to go about it?
Well, it can be for anyone. You don't have to be a member of the community to get involved. We really encourage allies to join because you never know who might need a safe space. And to join, you can go to their website, lgbtqplusofirst.org, and honestly, there should be someone at every competition who knows something about it. They'll usually have the pin, and they'll display something in their pits usually.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Hannah.
Yeah.
Dan and Dan, I'm going to send it back up to you guys.
Kaylee, thank you. Let's jump into our updated brackets. Definitely in the final stages as we have match 12 looming.
Or match 13.
Sorry, match 13. Right, yeah, sorry. Match 1 and 2 doesn't get much heavier than that.
Yep. No, it's the big one. We usually see this in the finals, but we're going to get it here in the lower bracket finals instead.
We'll take a short break here at Athens High School. More in a moment as we continue with the First in Michigan district event here in Troy.
Moving forward from one point to the next, the simplest of actions. But in that simplest of actions, Aptiv sees something else, a transformational force, a force that brings us together. We are driven by a shared mission, a world that is safer, greener, and more connected, a conviction in a brighter future for mobility, and a passion for solving the toughest challenges standing in the way. With the right people, organized in the right way, rigorous in our execution, and resilient in the face of adversity. With a unique portfolio of solutions perfectly positioned and continuously enhanced through investment and partnership, delivered efficiently and responsibly, and always with an effort to reduce our impact on the environment and improve the many communities we call home. This is our vision for a more sustainable business. We'll get there with our knowledge, adaptiveness, and drive. We'll get there by design.
So we're continuing here at Troy High School. And the 1 alliance and the 2 alliances go head to head. That number 4 alliance kind of waiting. That's exciting when you kind of know you've already overachieved and you're just kind of waiting for those other underlings, or not underlings, but you know, you're right now, your confidence should be peaking, and you're going to see what these other 2.
Well, and look at how long of a break too you get. You get match 12, match 13, both of the award breaks in between there. So if you want to work on your robot, if there are things you want to fix or upgrade, anything that you kind of left hanging because you were running out of time, you have so much time to get those robots prepared. And you're watching this. Let's see how Alliance 5 played against Alliance 1. Let's see how Alliance 1 and 2 play against each other. And they have a chance to sort of plan ahead, adjust their strategy based on what they see here.
Is it frustrating? Well, I don't know if frustrating is the right word, but can you get anxious waiting? Can you get a little over anxious doing nothing when, you know, you kind of feel like, hey, it's like a player, I'm on a hot streak, I want to keep going?
Yep, yeah, no, that can definitely happen, and that's just the experienced people, the coaches, the mentors on the team just have to do a good job of keeping everybody loose and comfortable. And that's...
Here's the matchup, the Red Alliance with Rochester Adams. The Atombots, the Crew, and Alcona Toolcats. The Blue Alliance is the Engineers, Robo Jackets, and UPAD Fusion.
Yep, so both of these alliances have had robot issues. 2337 and 7769 have both had some matches where they were broken. But in matches where they were working, so last match for the number 2 seed in red, they put up a 140. The number 1 seed in their 2 matches where everybody was functional, they did a 158 and a 167. So when everybody's working, right, we've got this average of all of match Alliance 1 at 143. But if you throw out the 2 first matches where 2337 was not fully functional, now all of a sudden you've got an average of what? It's going to be 160, 162 and a half.
Plus, yeah.
It's a massive score. So that's going to be hard to overcome, but we'll see.
And Red Alliance.
And same thing, broken robot for that 111, but they came back and put up that 140. And then against some more defense was not quite as strong. So we'll see which version of the number 2 alliance we get for this match.
Thumbs up on the field, and we'll dive into the autonomous.
So 7769, big deal. They got that cube, the second cube. And it's very important because Engine Nerd scored 3. And so getting that one extra one at least keeps it kind of close.
And I guess there's always a challenge too is, well, no, I was going to say, you don't always have to be watching the scoreboard, but the reality is you do. If you get too far behind, you may have to switch to a more aggressive defense.
Yep.
So it's not just a matter of just saying points, points, points.
You've got to be careful because the scoreboard is not necessarily correct. It can lag behind. It will show the penalties, but it takes some volunteers some time to enter and score. So you also need to be looking at the grids and seeing how the grids are filling up. And right now, what we see on the grid is Blue's got a bunch up high. They've already got 6 of 9 spots up high filled. Red with only 2. And they come back here and add a couple more to get to 4.
And a stumble there for the 7769 machine, the crew.
If they cannot afford that, they've got to get kind of maximum movement here. They're down already by 30+ points.
And again, the mistakes just take on a little bit more significance here. And the deeper you get.
78-56 is somehow finding the right spot to be on defense.
The Atom Bots machine moving crisply with a cone that they will try to place after fumbling one earlier. That's clean.
Yep, another link on the middle row for the Blue Alliance here.
Man, they are just blowing this thing out of the water.
If Red does have a couple of opportunities up top, they can finish. This is going to be a 10-point score for 7769. They've got one more cube spot up top. This is going to finish a link too, so we're going to see the scores tighten up a little bit. But right now, I would say Blue has an advantage of probably 4 or 5 game pieces on the rack.
And those will all be significant as this plays out here. We're coming up on the last segment. They'll all go to the charging station, see what Red does, knowing that they've got to get all 3 on to maybe make a dent in that Blue lead. And they're struggling.
That is an entire second row completed now for Blue. But very late on the climb for both sides.
Yeah, but the Blue Alliance, they might be able to swing it. No.
Nope.
Close. Closer than the Red Alliance.
Yep, and it looks like, so Blue, I think, is going to get credit for all 3 robots on the ramp. You get scored 3 seconds after the end of the match. So if they roll off before 3 seconds has passed, you only get 2 points for being parked in the zone. But I think they're going to get all the 6 points there. Red will, I think, only get 2 6 points. I don't think 245 was on the ramp at all or completely.
Here's some of the highlights, not the complete package, but again, there's that
was good defense.
Yeah, a buzz of activity at the center line and a cone drop. Blue Alliance just very efficient.
Yeah, and I don't think we've talked about 35-38 enough, but that's how fast they are. It's basically how long does it take them to drive back and forth across the field, because they grab quickly and they place quickly.
And you can see the cubes dropping.
Yep, that was a big one. Completed the last link on that middle row. And then they had one shot at this balance, and they didn't quite get it. So that's something for them to worry about going into their next match. They've got to hit that, or they might get punished. But Red, just not enough points. So either the defense was extra effective there, or just not good enough execution from 245 and 7769. That score is lower than we expect from them, and you can't do that when you're going up against the #1 seed.
Let's get together downstairs with Kaylee Marentet.
Hey guys, I'm here with Christian from the Blue Alliance. Obviously good news, you guys are heading into the finals. What's going to be your mentality facing the other team?
Same that we always use. We try to keep a clear head, not think about who we're up against, just think about what we're doing, keep our robots consistent, keep doing what we've always been doing. It's working well so far, so we don't want to change that up.
What do you guys think there's going to be any difficulty, or is there any special tactics you want to change going into playing in this next team?
Not in particular. I mean, obviously, if there was anything super clever, I wouldn't reveal that either. But for this game, it's it's mostly just trying to get your cycles down as low as possible, so you can have as many cycles, shortest time, and trying to avoid defense, where our drivers are getting better and better at staying in kind of a cycle with one another, not getting each other's way, which is nice to see. A lot of that last match with our bots never really gaining each other's ways.
What do you think has changed or bettered throughout the day for you guys with your alliance?
I mean, for us, I know we've had a few troubles with our arm being a little too low for when we go to score, which is not good for the driver. It takes them longer to line it up when that's the case. So we've got that higher, which is better for us. Robo Jackets, of course, they had a swerve drive problem in our last match, previous match prior to this one. So they got that fixed, luckily, between the matches, and we were able to have them back up at their full power, which is what we like.
All right. Well, good luck in the finals here, Christian.
Thank you.
Dan and Dan upstairs.
Kaylee, thank you. Here's our matchup as we continue to move into the finals. The 1 seed against the 4 seed. And again, everybody in a good frame of mind right now. And part of the prep work, Dan, I guess, is, are you looking at your opponent now saying, okay, machine A can do one thing, machine B can do another. Which machine do we try to maybe attack, make their strength a weakness, that kind of thing? What's the mindset?
Yeah. And it's a few different things. So, some robots are scoring a lot, but also you have to balance that with which robot do you think you can get, defense on. So we'll see a little bit of targeting, probably of 23-37 and 35-38.
Here's our highlight package and how the Blue Alliance punched their ticket.
Yep, good job by 7769 here, though, getting that second game piece, keeping this auto mode close. I think they weren't quite able to grab the third one. But on the other side, same thing, 35-38 and 23-37, both getting an extra, just 23-37 here, getting 2 extra game pieces. 35-38 missed theirs.
And the 78-56 machine just static there.
Yep, they dropped a game piece off, and then they didn't get anybody else's way. They probably would have had the ability. So
that's by design then?
Yeah, okay. They have the ability to drive after that, but the Alliance is deciding that it is better to make sure they don't disrupt the extra game pieces that the other guys are going for.
Got it. So less traffic is better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then we see the last second attempt here, which, they had to go for it.
Yeah.
They were behind, so you always got to try to score a couple extra when you're behind.
So another awards ceremony session coming.
Yep, again, we moved these awards in between the matches. The idea here is that we've got a 15-minute timeout, field timeout for the robots to fix themselves. We're going to see Alliance 1 basically playing in back-to-back matches. You got to give them some time to prep the robot. So we give out some awards here while we're waiting.
And out.
The Rookie Inspiration Award celebrates a rookie team's outstanding success in advancing respect and appreciation for engineering and engineers, both within their school as well as within a community. This team could be lounging and surfing in their local waters, but instead they pursue a burning passion to improve for the future. They have the fire to expand First Mission even with pie in their face. Congrats, Team 9237 Schwarzkieck Dragoneers. The Autonomous Award, sponsored by Ford, celebrates the team that has demonstrated consistent, reliable, high-performance robot operation during autonomously managed actions. Evaluation is based on the robot's ability to sense its surrounding, position itself or onboard mechanisms appropriately, and execute tasks. This machine flies around the field with 11 encoders and a gyro, They score a cone and balance on the charge station in the blink of an eye. Using their industrial-inspired arm, they are able to score at any position on the grid with the push of a button. Don't be confused by their imagery. They will sting you during autonomous. Congrats, Team 35-38, the Robo Jackets! The Creativity Award, sponsored by Rockwell Automation, celebrates creativity that enhances strategy of play and was intentionally designed and not discovered. This team strode into the competition with confidence in their step, ready to break a leg. They countered the game challenge creatively, balancing their design with innovation. Roll out the red carpet and turn on the spotlight. Congrats, team 7211 Hollywood. The Quality Award celebrates machine robustness in concept and fabrication. Building the robot is only part of their success, and the judges recognize them as a quality example to others. They came out of the trees, shining and bright, sleek and maintainable with separate energies. Quality shines through when this team all rose together. Congrats, team 77-69, the Crew. The Industrial Design Award, sponsored by General Motors, celebrates the team that demonstrates industrial design principles, striking a balance between form, function, and aesthetics. This team designs with a touch of elegance. They flew into the competition with a robot that blends functionally with form. They reach out for opportunity and grasp it in their claws forevermore. Congrats, Team 1188 Ravens!
Downstairs we go. Let's reconnect with Kaylee.
Hey everyone, we have Adam from 3538 here. Adam, how are you feeling today?
Feeling pretty good coming from yesterday. We had a pretty good day yesterday. Came and did some practice again, and I'm ready to go.
All right. Tell me about the role that you have on your team.
At the shop, I mostly do design. So I have the ideas for the mechanisms. I actually lead through producing the systems, the manufacturing, the assembly, and then at the competitions, I drive the robot.
All right. You guys are known for being pretty quick. What's your guys' cycle time?
We're at about 10 seconds right now.
How did you get your bot to get so fast?
We actually spent a lot of time tuning in our drivetrain. We first started with actually deciding what kind of drivetrain we wanted to go. So we didn't actually decide which one we were going to use until about week 4. We spent the first few weeks of the build season actually designing it to use either tank or swerve drive. We had both designed and they could both be swapped in. And we ended up going with swerve. I'm liking it a lot. And after a lot of driver practice, I've gotten used to maneuvering it around quickly.
How important is that driving practice?
It's very important. I mean, I've been driving robots since I was in 6th grade, so I've had a lot of practice with it, and it helps me, before the competitions, we do a lot of practice, too, with our current operator. We both drove, our last year's robot during off-seasons together at basically all our off-season events that we ran, so we've had a lot of practice working together, cooperating there. And like I've said, I've been driving for a while, so I'm generally comfortable on the field, generally comfortable with driving the robots, so it keeps me calm and cool while I'm moving around.
When you guys practice, do you do sprints, or I guess what are the drills that you guys incorporate into your practices?
Yeah, so at our shop, we only have a half field, so when we're at our shop, we do a lot of drills kind of things, orbiting around objects, quick lineups, practicing timing in our positioning of the robot with the arm going up, stuff like that. And then we have some friend teams who are nearby that we can that have full fields, so we practice with them at their full field, giving us time to do that practice on the full field transit, moving between objects, defenders, things like that.
Very cool. What do you think makes your bot so special, obviously, besides the speed?
There's a lot of things I like about our robot that's special to me, especially because I designed a lot of it. But I like I think my favorite part is the swerve modules that we're using. We designed custom wheels for them that we manufactured in-house that have they're COTS swerve modules, but we added custom wheels to them so that we have better traction and we can accelerate and decelerate faster and get on the bridge more stably.
What do you have in your mind when you come up with these designs or you're designing the bot?
So usually we start with what do we want it to do, what function do we want it to serve, and then we narrow it down to what variables do we need it to do. So how fast does it need to be, how where does it need to go to, and then we from there determine like what those variables need to be, and we think of we brainstorm multiple design ideas, and then we pick one that we like the best, and we move forward with it.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Adam. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Dan and Dan, we're going to send it back up to you.
So we move into our, last event of the day. This is a best 2 of 3 opportunity.
Yep, and once again, we are playing a double elimination tournament. For those of you who have seen double elimination tournaments before, sometimes you reset the bracket in the finals. So theoretically, Alliance number 4 has not lost yet. If they were to lose here, it would be their first loss. Sometimes you make them play a second best of 3. We don't do that here. So here it is 1 best 2 out of 3, and that will be our winner.
Concise.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yep. And let me also go back to that interview. He mentioned COTS, which is one of those first acronyms. So if you're not familiar, that stands for Came Off the Shelf. There are a few suppliers that are out there making components just for this competition, and you're allowed to buy those. And when you do, they're referred to as COTS items.
Nice catch. Very good. There's our breakdown of kind of what you expect point-wise from this 4 alliance. Again, they've been, kind of even in those first 2, and then the 20-point jump.
And that 118-115 match was versus Alliance number 1. So that was the match they won, but that was a match where 23-37 was broken and non-functional. So they need to be more like that 140 match that they put up their last time out than either of the first 2.
So the 1 alliance maybe doesn't really fear them to the level of like, oh boy.
No, I think if you're the number 1 seeded alliance here, you are going in with a lot of confidence. 158, 167, 143 in the last 3 matches. A lot of defense played, and they still put up 143 in that last match. And those are all scores higher than the highest score that Alliance 4 has put up. So if you're in blue here on this side, it's yours to lose. You feel like it's yours to lose. As long as you execute, you're going to be all set.
You know, the sportsmanship philosophy of how these teams engage and compete with each other. Yes, they compete hard. However, the sportsmanship that we see on display is certainly noteworthy. There's sometimes you don't have to, if you watch enough college basketball, you'll see in the handshake lines there's not an overabundance of sportsmanship, but that is not the case here in Michigan First Robotics. It's all sportsmanship all the time. And again, not to, we feel appropriate saying it every week. If a machine goes down, somebody from the other team will be the first ones there to, supply the part. It goes to that level of sportsmanship.
Yeah, guarantee if a robot breaks in this match and the only spare part in the building is with the other alliance, they'll give it to them without even thinking.
So we'll see how things shake down here. Again, best 2 of 3. Probably the 2, it's the 2 alliances that perform the best usually end up getting here. Nobody comes in, back door, do they?
Yeah, well, Alliance number 4 did have that lucky break against Alliance number 1 to face them when they kind of weren't at full strength. So they got a little bit of a gift there, but they had to win their semifinal matchup against Alliance number 2, which was no cakewalk.
So we've got the Avondale Robo Jackets. Okay, I got to get my notes collected here properly.
Yeah, so we got Alliance 1 and Alliance number 4.
All these moving parts, it's not that easy to keep up with it.
Especially with the double elimination.
Yeah.
So we've got these announcer sheets that tell us the team numbers and names and where they're from. And last year when it was single elimination, when a team lost, we could lose that sheet. This year we just keep shuffling them around. All right,
and let's hit it.
Yep. 23-37 misses their extra, but 35-38 gets theirs. And they do get their second extra one. So that's going to be 2 extra game pieces scored for the Blue Alliance. 2 extra scored for the Red Alliance. So we are actually pretty much even here, waiting for the scores to update.
And nobody made a big splash in autonomous.
That's the scores have not updated. That is not the correct score. They both balanced. They should both be somewhere between 30 and 40 points.
Okay, I was going to say usually they're a little higher than that, but
yep.
Lots of numbers to add. And again, this is a fast-moving, up-tempo. And the 23-37 Blue Alliance machine, the Engineers from Grand Blanc, always a strong presence, and they are dialed in and moving very quickly and efficiently.
All right, I think the auto mode scores have trickled through now, so I think we're looking at closer to what the actual score is. And Red,
wow,
defensive robot has gone over.
That's the Robo Raptors from Bentley High School. And again, playing with two robots isn't ideal, but sometimes you can manage it.
Yeah, not good for Red.
If you're reading this message, I'm in trouble.
That is a message you hope, or a joke you hope to never share with the world. That's pretty good, though.
Attention to detail.
Attention to detail. What I'd like to see here, though, is 78-56 now has kind of an advantage playing defense because they can use that down 56-12 robot as an additional pick, as additional wall. So they should. I would like them to play defense higher up on the field and block the short route for the Red Alliance robots. Their 1684 made it on the short side. So if they play high, they can sort of block off that short side, force everybody to go long around the field. But they're kind of not doing it. They're playing in pretty much no man's land right now. Doesn't really matter, though. Blue has got almost two full rows done.
And then again, you don't pack it in when you're down a robot. We can see the Red Alliance still pushing it, pedal to the metal. But
two scores, and those were both completed links. So Red's going to close up again, but only able to double balance. Blue's got the triple.
So the Blue Alliance, it's not a huge margin of a lead, but we'll still get the final points together. And
yeah, it looks like it was going to be one extra link for Blue and a handful of extra game pieces scored. Red, I think, came out of auto mode with a slight edge in points, but not having that third robot.
And here's the takedown for the Red Alliance machine. The 56-12 Robo Raptors unit gets bounced.
Yep, so that was 23-37, got underneath the bumpers of 56-12 and just sort of drove through them there. But I don't know that you can really fault 23-37. They were crossing the field at full speed and just kind of zipped off to the left. It was unlucky that that robot rocked up and was able to got its bumpers on top of 23-37, and that was enough for them to go over.
So just to summarize, you're saying that knock over was not by design?
I don't believe so. Obviously, I'm not the driver, but I didn't see anything malicious there. And that's the refs are probably discussing it. They're going to make sure. Looks like somebody was in the question mark box asking that question. A referee will need to have seen the interaction, and then it would have need to have been essentially intentional tipping. And what we saw was a high-speed contact that unluckily hit high.
Yeah, 156 to 134. Charge station points and the grid points in favor of the Blue Alliance.
Yeah, and that charge station we knew was going to be that way because only 3 robots at the end.
And here's our autonomous period. Blue Alliance efficient early, that 23-37 robot. The Engineers, boy, that is a functionally good machine.
Yep, they got double there. We can see here, though, Red, 1684 and 7211 coming back with extra scores of their own. The only difference here is 5612 not balanced on that ramp, so they got 4 less points for that. But in blue, one of the robots did not leave the starting area, so 3 less points for them. So basically tied in auto mode. And there's the hit again.
The hit.
You saw they were coming through, and they got
that's
one
not
bump.
right.
They bounced up over them, but I mean they were just trying to get through there.
Right.
But it is an unfortunate occurrence. And then at the end, of course, only 2 robots left, so they could only balance for 20 points instead of triple for 30.
All things considered, if you're the Red Alliance, you can't be too disappointed, really.
Yeah, 134.
Everything else is fine considering how that robot got knocked.
134 was one of their top scores. They did a 140, so they were down a little bit. But they do need that defense. Letting 156 points go for the other alliance for the #1 seed is not going to be enough. They're going to have to slow them down a little bit more, bring that number down into the 140s, and then they've got a shot.
Let's go downstairs and check in with Kaylee.
I have 56-12 from the Red Alliance. Haley here. Tell me, you guys obviously had a bot fall. Yeah. What helped you get all those points after that?
So it's mostly our alliance partners picking up some of the slack that we left after we tipped. But it's mostly them continuing with the plan and going back and forth, gaining points. But the 3 robots against 2 definitely helped the other team and the group teams. So I think it was mostly just, yeah, falling over.
Is there anything that you are going to want to change going into this? Obviously, you guys have one more chance to get this.
I think we're going to keep the main plan for it, stay on defense, but I think we're going to be a little more careful about how we play our cards.
Yeah. So. Okay. All right. Thank you, and good luck. Dan and Dan.
Kaylee, thank you. So let's go down and resume our awards presentation.
The Innovation in Control Award celebrates an innovative control system or application of control components, electrical, mechanical, or software, to provide unique machine functions. This team's robot uses a monstrous array of sensors and controls. Their complex code integrates cameras, LiDAR, dual gyroscopes, encoders, and a string pot. PID control and an efficient autonomous mode decreases their cycle time. This mythical fire-breathing team uses great innovation to torch this year's game. Congrats, Team 1684, the Chimeras. The Excellence in Engineering Award celebrates the team that demonstrates a professional approach to the design process and whose design is elegant and advantageous on the field of play. When it comes to engineering, this team knows the formula for excellence. A design focused on centralizing their heavy components tangent to LEDs and sensors that let them see what others can't was the sign to the judges they had covered all the angles. Alert the nerds. Congrats, Team 2337, the Engine Nerds. The Team Sustainability Award celebrates and recognizes a team that has developed a sustainable program in order to define, manage, and achieve this team's ongoing objectives. This team is a consistent element in the competition with great team spirit and passion for first. Using an effective compound of outreach, mentoring, and communications to sustain the mission of first in their team and community. This team's chemistry puts them on a path to success. Congrats, Team 4384, the Benzene Bots. The Judges Award. During the course of the competition, the judging panel may decide that a team's unique efforts, performance, or dynamics merit recognition, yet do not fit into any of the existing award categories. The Judges Award for Versatility. With an Auton for both sides of the charging station, an operator control box that will make your eyes spin, this jack-of-all-trades team is not messing around. This team is like an oasis for other teams. They incorporate FRC curriculum in their school and lead outreach activities like barbecue with bots. This team is so hot, they are frozen. Congrats, Team 910, the Foley Freeze.
So we're wrapping up this award ceremony, but for right now, we'll head it downstairs and rejoin Kaylee.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us here. I am joined by Jenny Ecclestone. She's with Magna International. Jenny, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. Super charged up today.
All right, awesome. So first, tell us, what is Magna International?
So Magna International is a traditional automotive supplier that is moving in the direction of becoming an automobility company and moving forward all different types of mobility. So when we think about our history as a supplier, we've got different pieces of our companies, from seating to electronics to powertrain and drive systems, all the way up to full vehicle manufacturing that we do in Europe in our Steyr division. And then a number of other components with manufactured glass, exteriors, mirrors, lighting, anything you can think of basically, but tires on a car, we do. And so thinking about how we move those applications forward. So for instance, in the last year, we've created an autonomous pizza delivery bot that we're in the process of testing. Yeah, right down the road. So it's really fun to see kind of how our business is changing to meet the needs of our future and other customers around the world.
Speaking of future, why do you think it's important to invest in STEM?
So it's super critical for a company like Magna to invest in STEM, and for many companies like ours, because we need to see the future of students really igniting their passion for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And it's incredible to have organizations like First Robotics that allow us to both sponsor and to provide monetary support, but also physically be here and support all the parents, mentors, students, educators that are involved in this incredible program, because they're helping us pave that pathway to enable our ability and my ability as a talent attraction expert to bring them back into the company someday and help them change the future for everybody in the mobility space.
Like you just said, you guys are a sponsor for First in Michigan. Tell me about why you guys did decide to sponsor.
Yeah, so we've been a longtime sponsor of First Michigan and several other First chapters, and the reason being for us is that it's one of the best ways to get involved at the local community level, but also see the excitement and have our own engineers go and sponsor and mentor and be present and serve as judges today at the competition. And it gives us such a ability to not only support and develop these students and their interest in learning in the STEM fields, but it also allows us to see what they're learning about. And one of the biggest growing areas for us as a company is robotics, and our R&D team is certainly looking for more experts in that field. So being here at the ground level to see that passion igniting and to see the students starting to learn about that is exactly where we want to be. We want these students to remember Magna as a brand that they can consider in the future that could have really incredible career opportunities for them.
Speaking of those career opportunities, you guys obviously have a lot of cool stuff going on, these pizza bots and all that.
Yes.
What are some of the jobs that you want these students to know about?
Yeah, so I mean, the cool thing about Magna is basically there's really no jobs that you can't have when you're at a company like Magna, especially in the STEM field. So from software engineering to mechanical to electrical to systems and material designs and how materials are going to interact with each other in the future. When we think about bringing autonomous vehicles and electric vehicles into the future, there's so much interaction that's happening in between the mechanical, electrical, chemical worlds that really anything in the field of science or mathematics is going to be key for us moving forward, but also for a lot of other fields too. But today, and where I see our teams going is, like I said, robotics is a huge space, because it's not just about building what we are or manufacturing what we're creating, it's also how are we going to manufacture those things, and how do we build the systems that can produce those incredible drivetrain systems or electronic features or seating mechanisms. All of that has to be thought about when we think about our cars of the future, factories of the future, and all of that. So huge and endless opportunities for sure.
Lots of awesome opportunities too, it sounds like.
Yeah.
All right, Jenny, thank you so much for joining us today, and we're going to send it back to you guys.
Kaylee, thank you, and we are... Well, we may have at least one more match, maybe two.
Yep.
Red Alliance has got a little work to do. And again, not that, you can't really get two up if you're Blue Alliance or down if you're Red Alliance.
Yeah, right, yeah. I mean, I think if you're Blue Alliance, you're very comfortable right now. You've had 3 matches in a row of 4 matches in a row, more or less of executing your strategy exactly as you planned. So they're in a groove. Red Alliance has got to come up with a slightly different plan, but, they lost that robot to a tip relatively early in the last match. And they've got to believe that if that robot was on the field, it's going to commit or contribute a little bit more to the defense, maybe bring that score down to a number that they can reach.
Yeah, the challenge is you've lost that one match where you could have kind of exactly figured out how to beat them due to a mistake that it wasn't even a mistake. It's just a oops, it happens.
Mm-hmm. That definitely makes it harder, and they're going to have to take a few more chances this match. I would say they need to be prepared to go to the ramp as late as possible. They should know roughly how long it takes for them to balance that ramp. They should plan to have only a couple of extra seconds. They need to score up until that last moment. And look for more hits. Look to be disruptive crossing the field, and hopefully their defense can pick it up a little bit.
In football, the coaches have kind of a script card where they know, okay, we're down 4 points with X. Do these teams know, like, okay, because they have to be thinking, if we're down and we know we need points, do we know when they have to go to that charging station? Is that all part of the thought process?
I think a lot of alliances don't have that planned. I think they have sort of like their time where they're going to try to go there plus or minus a little. So you might see something like, hey, at 30 seconds, if we have a piece, we're going to score it, then we're going to go to the charge station.
Okay.
But what you're saying is absolutely correct. They should know, like if you look up at the scoreboard with 30 seconds left and you're down by a lot, you need to run for another game piece. If you're close enough, you might say, hey, if we hit our triple and they don't hit their triple, that means you're going to get 30 points. They would get 6, and another 6 for being on the ramp but not balanced. That's 18. So if you're within 12 points, you could gamble on them missing their balance. But in this case, these two alliances have been very good at balancing. I'm not sure I would risk that. I would probably go for the extra score.
And that adds a whole nother layer of instant decisions that you have to make in real time. So,
and that's why what you're saying, like you should run those scenarios in your head beforehand, and you should discuss it with your alliance. It's always, if you're running around to your alliance at the last second and being like, no, gotta score another one, gotta score another one, they might not be ready to execute that plan. So if you say, hey, look, at 35 seconds, we're gonna make a call. If we need to keep scoring at that point, be prepared for it.
Yeah. All right. We'll see what the Red Alliance has to try to win this second match.
Yep, let's watch
best two
both
of three.
Sides. Red, Chimera's got their second. 72-11 got their second. Looks like Red's going to come through with 5 scores. Blue, meanwhile, only 4. So that is advantage Red, but the balance from the blue side is going to negate that. So we're basically even again.
Now we're moving on into our teleop period.
At 56-12, looking for a spot to play defense, not really getting hit there. That was smart, though. You saw them pushing that cube away from the red side of the field, that extra cube there, so no easy, quick grab for anybody. And a little bit of defense there, forcing 35-38 to go the long way around.
And the Red Alliance working on the lower tier, not the higher tier. I mean, some on the high tier, but a few of the cubes and cones are down low.
Yep, I think they're going to move up to the high now. They wanted to finish that first link right away. And they did, and it's given them a bit of a lead. Again, I think those auto mode scores are updating very late for us. We've got 1 link only for blue, 2 links for red.
When you say the auto mode scores are loading slowly, does that impact the decisions these kids are making?
Yeah, it can. Because if you look up at the scoreboard and it's not the real-time score, it can definitely change your decisions. The good part is the early part of the match is really just like run some pieces across the field and try to get ahead. So that probably doesn't affect anything, and I think we're updated now.
And the Red Alliance, that 72-11 Hollywood from Holly High School, that is a robot that's performing very well. They'll grab a cube. 1684, the Chimeras.
That's a penalty. Blue is stuck deep in red zone. And that should be more than 1, probably. We'll see what happens on the way out. That's another one. They called it. Yep, 2 penalties.
That's the UPAT Fusion.
You got to be so careful playing defense. And I think right now, actually, red is ahead on the grid, but they are still behind on the scoreboard.
Yeah, the 7856 UPAT Fusion Blue Alliance machine, kind of a non-factor right now.
Looks like they've gone to get ready to climb. And that's another completed link. We've got
Blue Alliance maybe getting 1 more cone and cube in place.
It's very close. It's showing blue ahead.
Oh, wow.
But I'm not sure if it's updated because the grids are even. Blue has 1. No, I think the grids are completely even. 1 extra piece from. 1 extra piece maybe from red, but I think it's outside of the tape zone. So the grids are even, the climbs are even, and there were penalties on blue.
So there's the 23-37 Blue Alliance machine engineered, and a cube drop for Robo Jackets.
Yep, good scores. A lot of stuff in the middle of the field. Maybe there were some red penalties as well that we did not catch, but here we go. That you cannot be in that area playing defense. And when 1684 comes in there and makes contact, that's a penalty. And, you know, they actually held them up for a little while, which is, you know, not ideal. But then on the way out, they get hit again in the zone you can't be.
Best guess, is that a mental lapse of just not recognizing where your machine is, or mechanical failure where you can't move it out?
They got a little too close to the line and then got hit in a way they didn't expect, and then they just struggled to get out. So I think it's a little bit of both there. We'll see now. Looks like they are definitely checking the scoreboard. I think it's not impossible those penalties got inputted wrong.
Let's roll into our highlights. We can see how this
so
played out.
Great auto mode from Red. They've been very consistent. 56-12, if they could hit that balance, it would be nice. Again, there's a 4-point difference between being on the ramp and being balanced. And of course, only one person can go for that. So the other two robots getting their extra scores. We see Engine Nerds missing that extra cube. But they come back and they add a second cube here. Or a second cone there, or second cube for 35-38. And then during the whole match, it looked like Red was staying ahead and then got those extra penalties here. So great scoring, good job finishing the top row there, and then at the very end, they did ice that triple, and here we go.
Red Alliance coming out ahead. They had to win to stay in it. They did.
And I mean, we can break this down. So a few things. If you take the penalties away, which, okay, it brings the 153 down to 148, which is what I said. They need to get them down into the 140s to have a shot. But also, with the 15 penalty points for Red, you bring that down, that puts them at 145. So Blue actually had this by 3 points. But this is the best offensive output we've seen from the Red Alliance, the number 4 alliance thus far. 1 on the grid. Yeah, 101 to 100 on the grid. So they actually won on the grid. They're down a little bit in charge station points because they didn't get that balance in auto. If, what was it, 56-12 was able to balance in auto, not just be on it, we would have been tied on the grid, and it would have been a 1-point match.
So a feel-good Red Alliance win. And we will go the distance and play a third, a winner-take-all.
So really the question now is, will there be changes from the number 1 alliance in terms of how they are positioning their robots on defense? Does that robot continue to play defense, or are they going to deem it too risky and try to get it to some other part of the field? And then if you're Red, you know, no change.
Let's reconnect with Kaylee Marentet downstairs.
Hey guys, I have Adam here from 35-38. Obviously, it came down very close. It felt penalty heavy there. Tell me what you're going to change going into the final round.
We're going to play it a little safer, keep our defense robot a little closer to us, a little more farther out of their zone. We'll keep just scoring away, keep trying to keep it smooth.
What do you think is going to be your biggest challenge, obviously, besides trying to keep calm?
I think biggest challenge is just going to be staying up against the defense. They've been playing some hard defense against us, and it's been hard to get around them, but we're going to just keep trying our best.
All right, thanks, Adam. Good luck.
Thank you.
Dan and Dan?
Thank you, Kaylee. So here's the question. So I guess common sense would dictate obviously you need to outscore your opponent. However, do you think either of these alliances will think, okay, we're both going to score, we have to disrupt what they do offensively, ergo you're trying to kind of introduce a different thing on defense? Do you follow that logic?
Yeah, and that was the strategy in the first match here. Well, in the first and second matches. In the second match, 56-12, remember they flipped in the first finals match. Staying on their wheels allowed them to play a lot more defense, disrupt, bring that score down a little bit. And that was key. That was key for them to getting that win there.
Let's go downstairs for the awards.
Who's ready for some awards? The Rookie All-Star Award celebrates the rookie team exemplifying a young but strong partnership effort, as well as implementing the mission of FIRST to inspire students to learn more about science and technology. This rookie team has cooked up a great approach to achieve future goals and tackle technical challenges. They spread the first message by sending t-shirts from the capital to friends across the world. They are shaking up the competition with their leadership and spirit. Qualifying to compete for the Rookie All-Star Award at the District Championship is Team 9203 Quake. First, Dean's List District Championship semifinalists are outstanding, passionate student leaders who demonstrate exemplary effectiveness at attaining first ideals. They were nominated by their teams for their direct contributions and impact on others, exemplifying leadership and commitment on the team and in their community. First, Dean's List District Championship semifinalists recognized here today will move forward to compete at the District Championship. Today, we would like the following student to come down to be recognized. Congrats to Adeline B. from 2851 Revolution. The Engineering Inspiration Award celebrates outstanding success in advancing respect and appreciation for engineering within a team, school, or organization and community. Inspiring others to respect science and technology requires passion, knowledge, and commitment, and we recognize these qualities through this award. This team's mascot may be small in size, but the team is larger in character as they inspire others. They have a positive approach with their community outreach, summer camps, and monthly blogs. They are a central nucleus in their community, promoting STEM locally and nationally. Qualifying to compete for the Engineering Inspiration Award at the District Championship is Team 245 Atombots.
Let's head back downstairs and connect with Kaylee Marentate.
Hey everyone, we're here with Eddie Backley. You are the event coordinator here. Tell us what your role is.
Yeah, so as the event coordinator, I'm sort of responsible for everything that happens within these four walls and all the preparation that is associated with getting this tournament to go on. There's a volunteer coordinator who is sort of my partner in this and is responsible for recruiting all the folks you see in the gray volunteer shirts around the tournament. My responsibility is making sure that we have food for the volunteers, that we have all the supplies that we need. It involves renting things like a generator, a scissor lift, the AV equipment, and ensuring that all the teams are communicated with, when to arrive, what the logistics are, all of those different elements.
That's a lot of roles. That's a lot of tasks to take on. How do you find time to do that?
So I'm really lucky that my company is flexible and willing to let me volunteer. So in addition to the Troy 2 event that we're at currently, I was co-event coordinator at Wayne State and Cass Tech weeks 2 and 3, and then at Troy 1 this week, and then next week I will be up at the state championship leading that event with 2 of my peers there as well. This is one of the sort of tenets of FIRST in that it's always encouraged companies that in addition to donating money to sponsor events, really they would like folks to donate their staff's time, bring engineers in to work with the students, people who they can look up to, who they can understand that as this is a robotics and a STEM competition, that this is where they can eventually end up.
Mm-hmm. That company that you said gives you some flexibility is StockX. What is that company?
Yeah, so StockX is a startup based out of downtown Detroit. We're fairly well through our journey, but we're a secondary resale marketplace specializing in luxury sneakers and streetwear, amongst other goods. We sort of call them current culture goods, but we sit in the middle of buyers and sellers of these, where we will help connect the buyer and seller anonymously. You don't have to verify that the seller is legit, and then we verify all products as they come through us. So that's our sort of place in the market.
Very cool. So Troy obviously is one of the places that you guys set up for. What would be your advice to other high schools that maybe want to host something like this?
Yeah, there's one sort of logistic piece, which is that you need probably 2 gyms or a very, very, very large gym that can house both our pit area and our competition field, and those need to be on the same floor. Other than that, it's a matter of scheduling, making sure that the venue is willing to have a lot of teams in there and really show off their space. From there, it involves recruiting the volunteers. Oftentimes, those are not folks from the schools. These are, for key volunteers, oftentimes people who have been doing it for a really long time. They are our field technical advisors, there are field supervisors, there are pit admins, and there's a great core of folks around FIRST that can do that. So if the building is willing and interested, a lot of it can be sort of put together with not a ton of additional input from the building if they're willing to have us. From there, it becomes volunteer recruitment, reservations, making sure timing works. Parking is an interesting logistical challenge, especially if high schools have school in session. We're lucky here at Troy Athens that it's currently spring break, so we don't have a lot of these challenges to wrestle with. But there are things that oftentimes schools are very willing to work with you on because these are phenomenal events. They're great exposure for the kids that are in the school. Kids can come through, see the robots, see what they could potentially be involved in should they choose to join the school's team.
So if I hope my alma mater heard that, Lakeland High School, because I think they'd have a great venue for it. If a school did want to get involved, who would they reach out to, or how did you guys get involved in doing that?
Yeah, so we're in a unique position. Troy is one of the original districts. So when we adopted the district system in FIRST in Michigan as the first state to do that, we were there in 2009 and have held the district here continuously since then and expanded to 2 districts this year. If you're interested in doing it, Gail Alpert, who is our president of FIRST in Michigan, is a great contact. In a lot of cases, the coaches or leaders of teams at those schools have an opportunity to reach out. If a principal heard this and they've got a team and they want to do it, Gail's a great contact, and she really is very helpful in introducing new venues to this, walking them through the logistics, connecting them with other schools that might be able to talk to the stories, what they had to do, how it worked, what are some of the unique nuances to any given venue.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much for all your insight, Eddie, and we appreciate you helping getting this going.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Eddie. Dan and Dan?
Kaylee, thank you. Yeah, they're one last big push with the awards, and now we're going to have the final match of the day, the last head-to-head showdown with the winner taking the victory here.
Yep, this is it. So number 4 Alliance coming back in that last match and showing that their first time beating the number 1 Alliance way back in, match 7, our second round, was not a fluke. That they can do it when both alliances are at, full strength. And we'll see if they can pull off one more.
So strategically, what is each team going to want to try and do to just tip the scales a little bit maybe in their favor?
I think if you're the number 4 Alliance, yeah, you won the last match. I think you're still the underdog here. I think you still have to take some chances. You have to score late into the match. And I think you also need to keep your defense as aggressive as possible. Meanwhile, on the flip side, the number 1 Alliance, and they talked about it in the interview, I think they need to actually bring their defense back to a more controllable, safe spot on the field. They still have to be careful, though, because the danger here is they talked about getting from, too close to the scoring zone out towards the middle of the field, but if you go too far the other way, then you're right next to the loading zone, so it's still dangerous there. And if they bring them too far, again, on the other side of the field, they might end up getting in their own way. So they have to be careful with that repositioning, especially since they won't have had any time to kind of practice the new setup. But it is going to be a key thing for us to watch. 78-56 is going to have to find a way to play some defense, and they're going to have to find some safe spots on the field to do it.
Well, you can't ask for much more than this. We've seen these machines really do a lot of exciting, great things today. The point totals have, kind of risen to the level that we thought they could.
Yep. And you were saying last week, right, where we're happy to see 130s. Our winners was kind of in the 130s. This week,
they won't cut it.
No, 140.
Yeah.
Our last match, it took 160 to 153. So you've definitely got to be up into the 140s, if not the 150s here.
So if you're betting, we don't encourage it, but who do you think is going to win this match?
It's hard to bet against the number 1 seed. 35-38 and 23-37 have both been so good at scoring. But it was surprising in the last match, right, that we saw the Red Alliance keeping up in points, going 2 robots versus 2 robots on offense. So 72-11 has been very, very good. And 1684, I think, is every bit as fast as the other 2 robots there. So it's going to be close. If I had to pick, I would pick Alliance number 1. But a couple of things go the Red Alliance's way, and they can take this.
In other words, the margin for error is almost nil.
It's pretty small, yep.
Yeah. So one last introduction.
And again, the autonomous mode is going to be even more critical than it has been in the past based on, our small margins here. Blue Alliance, our number 1 seed in blue, has a chance to score 3 extra game pieces. They drive out to the middle, grab 3 extra game pieces between them. And our number 4 Alliance in red can do 2 extra game pieces. So we got to keep an eye on that. If either side gets all of theirs and the other side misses all of theirs, that's a pretty big swing.
Well, looks like everything's all set up on the playing field. Waiting for some thumbs ups.
Got to close the last gate.
Yeah.
Do things I say. Drivers, keep it alive. And 3, 2, 1, go.
All right.
And so it begins.
First scores all look good. Second scores.
Oh my.
What?
What did we just see?
Whoa, okay, something is very wrong with that robot. A sensor is messed up. They have gotten a penalty and they might be stuck.
Oh man.
Their arm is wedged into the gate there, and every time somebody comes in to load, they're blocking a loading station. So every time somebody comes into there to load, it should be a penalty. That's a penalty on the way out.
Well, it's disengaged.
It's free, so there is hope.
Right.
But a big lead for red because blue, that 23-37 was supposed to get the ramp points and score another cube. They got none of those. So big advantage for red after auto mode here.
And they've got an upside down cone.
Yeah,
I guess
their arm can rotate around, but because it got wedged into the wall there, I think it's broken. That arm could flip around, and it's not. And they are giving up now. They're going to either have to try to spit this out low. Yep, they're going to go low for some points. They can't play defense. They have to score low now. Wow. They're down too far to switch to defense, so smart move. But if that arm cannot score high, it's going to put a lot of pressure on 35-38 to make the comeback on their own, and that should be a penalty on 35-38 going in the loading zone.
And if that score is accurate.
And I believe it is. Last time I said I thought the score was wrong, and it was. This time I think that score is accurate. Red has gotten a bunch of penalty points, and they're ahead on the grid, and they were ahead in auto mode.
And you know, you control as many elements as you can on your end.
Yep.
But if the other guy has a mistake like that, then that, you know, can flip everything.
I want to change my vote.
Noted. Wow, 121 for the Red Alliance. Well, they didn't bat an eye, did they?
No, they're playing better than they have before. This is almost their best match again. They're 2 cubes away from a completed second row and all of the links that go along with it. Although, looks like they're going to grab a cone. Okay, they're switching it. Smart move by the human player is switching to the cube they need. If they can get that cube and get back, it's going to be almost untouchable.
The Robo Jackets Blue Alliance machine working feverishly.
Yep, and the Robo Jackets brought back a cube when they needed a cone. So the top row on blue is not complete, and they don't have any more time. They're going to have to go balance. Red is already up in triple balance, and it's not going to be enough. This might be our high score of the tournament coming up right here.
Well, two blue balances, but the celebration is for the Red Alliance. A hole that was big, and the Blue Alliance could not dig out of it.
It was, that auto mode, 2337, a sensor must have stopped working, or a bug in their code, but it was probably a damaged sensor. The robot normally knows where it is on the field, and we've seen them do this every single match where they go out for the extra 2 game pieces, slide over, and balance the ramp. But their robot lost track of where it was, slammed into the wall, got their gripper stuck, and I mean that was huge.
Yeah, let's focus in on where this all went sideways and really south.
So what happened is, because they lost connection with the ground, their wheels kept spinning. So the robot thought it was in a different spot. It continued in auto mode, and right here, they're wedged in, they're taking damage and getting a penalty for that. And this is the thing, if that did not cause damage, they still had a chance. But because that caused damage, now all of a sudden 23-37, can't score high, can't score middle. They're forced to score low. Those are only 2-point scores when you put them on the floor versus 5 when you put them on the top row.
So kind of a domino effect.
Yeah, and then everything kind of fell apart. They played as smart as they could. They did a good job of using that broken robot to still score game pieces, but it was not going to be enough.
Here's how it all shakes down, 165. Wow.
Yep, 20 points in penalties again, but even without the 20 points in penalties, 145 is the highest score they've scored this tournament, tying their last match. So their last 2 final matches were 145, 145 unpenalized scores, and they brought it out when they needed it.
Unbelievable.
A huge upset.
The Red Alliance triumphs. It would have been, it would have been closer without the mechanical failure, but let's go down to the winning team, the Red Alliance. Kaylee Marentet.
Hey guys, I am here with 2 of the winners. How are you guys feeling right now?
Amazing.
Great. What was going through your mind? I mean, obviously you guys were down the first match. What led you to get back up and win those next 2?
It had to be communication and figuring out maybe what they're going to do.
Yeah, our alliances talk together a lot and just trying to figure out what's the best option to take, what should we do differently, what we need to do to make sure that we're securing the blue banner.
What kind of conversations did you guys have when you went back after that first match?
We kind of discussed what to do differently on defense, offense, different plays we should make and stuff.
This is a high scoring game, 165, I believe. What led to that?
Communication and knowing our teammates.
I think it came from just throughout all the finals today, just getting up in scores and just learning how to work around each other, make sure we're working together.
What do you want to tell the rest of your alliance right now?
Thank you.
Thanks for saying yes to us.
All right, we'll be back here with the other alliance here in a second, but Dan and Dan, I'm going to pass it back up to you guys.
Thank you, Kaylee. Well-mannered kids.
Yep.
Just a simple thank you, right? Always nice. Well, that was certainly a little unorthodox. And again, it's easy to say, well, let's just recap what we've seen here from the start.
Yeah. Good job by the Red Alliance. I mean, they really found this auto mode, and they were almost the most consistent at getting their 5 pieces there. We can see that flag getting waved here. And here it is, just drifted a little bit too far over, clipped the ramp. Really weird that their arm just continued to flip themselves over, right? Because that was all pre-programmed, so kind of unlucky that happened. If they could have flipped themselves over in teleop, they wouldn't have slammed the arm into the wall. Maybe they were still functional, wouldn't have gotten the penalties that they got. They got 1 penalty on the way in and 1 penalty on the way out there. But here's the thing. That robot, 2337, had their issues. Doesn't matter. This number 4 alliance, look at how full they were able to make that grid. They scored a ton of points regardless of, what's happening on the other side. And nice job of nailing that triple balance there.
Let's go downstairs and join Kaylee Marentet. Kaylee?
Hey guys, I have some Blue Alliance members here, Adam and Christian. You guys put up an amazing fight in the finals here. What do you think changed from the first match to the second and third?
We were having some troubles with the robots. Our partners were broken a few of the matches, but they did their best. We did our best. We just kept trying.
What do you think was the biggest challenge of this final?
Just keeping everything together. It's the end of a long day, so all your robots are getting worn out. You got parts you got to change. For our robot in particular, we have a lot of cables and ropes that we had to start watching to make sure they aren't getting frayed. After that much action, it's hard for the bots.
What do you want to tell the rest of your alliance right now? Obviously, you guys are probably proud. You guys came all the way to the finals.
Yeah, I'd say you guys did your best. It was a great run. I enjoyed playing with you guys.
I'd say something along those lines, too.
All right, guys. Well, again, put up a great fight. Thank you guys so much. Dan and Dan?
Kaylee, thank you. Yes, a very excited group down there. They should be. What a great afternoon they had. Let's go downstairs and rejoin our awards presentation.
A reminder, when we announce the winners of the Impact Award, please remain in your seats so we can watch the winner's Impact video submission. And now, let's handle some awards. The district finalist celebrates the alliance that makes it to the final match of the competition. First, recognizes the talent of these outstanding competitors. They were sensational, and we are proud to honor them. The alliance captain, Team 3538 Robo Jackets. And their partners, Team 2337, the Engine Nerds. And team number 7856, UPAD Fusion. The 2023 Troy 2 District Champions formed a powerful alliance who rose to the many challenges of Charged Up and proved to be an exciting and competitive combination. They can now proudly hang a winner's banner in their pit. Congratulations to the Alliance captain, team number 1684, the Chimeras. And their partners, team 7211 Hollywood. And team number 5612, Roboraptors. The first Impact Award is the most prestigious award at First. It honors the team that best represents a model for other teams to emulate and best embodies the purpose and goals of First. The first Impact Award is presented to the team judged to have the most significant measurable impact of its partnerships among its participants and community over a sustained period, not just a single build season. The winner is able to demonstrate progress towards First's mission of transforming our culture. The recipient team will be invited to the district championship, where it will compete for the first Impact Award against winners from other qualifying events and compete with their robot. When there is a need for help in First community, you will find this team there. They're focused on First sustainability, and commitment includes mentoring FLL and FTC teams in their region. They expand FRC by hosting rookie events to enable others to learn and grow. Last fall, they increased their impact by hosting an FTC event. They participate in outreach on their own and with other First teams. During the off-season, they expanded their jungle habitat by inviting another high school to come join the fun. This team makes the judges go bananas. Congrats, Team 469, Las Gorillas!
My name is Anurag, and I'm in 11th grade. I'm on Team 469, Las Gorillas. My favorite thing to do on team, well, there's a lot of things, but I would say one of my most favorite things to do is collaborate with my friends and to work on new part designs.
My favorite thing to participate in is the team's all-girls season, because I think it's really impactful to see what the women in STEM can do when given the opportunity.
One of the biggest things my mentors have taught me is the ability to persist and continue problem solving, even though if it doesn't seem like there's a solution in sight. It's important to make sure to look at all aspects of the problem you're trying to solve and to keep on pushing, because eventually you will come to a very good solution.
On the team, we try to do outreach within the community and within First. Within First, as I said, we participate in All Girls and we help host it. And beyond, we participate in Walk for Wishes and Relay for Life to really try and give back to the community as they have given back to us with our shop space and resources that we have.
I like First because it kind of gives you an experience with engineering before you have to go off to college. And it's also a safe space to be able to ask questions and make mistakes.
I'm so much from the stands that my voice literally broke. I was so excited and happy for my team and to see all the energy and effort that we put into the robot come to fruition.
First in Michigan Robotics Game Day is brought to you by Ford, Active, Magna, Consumers Energy Foundation, and DTE Foundation.
Celebration is winding down just a little bit here at Troy Athens High School. Dan Kimura, we saw a great afternoon and great competition.
Yeah, a lot more upsets than I think we were expecting. Number 4 going all the way through, taking the title. They played amazing in the finals, so that was great. But yeah, lots of close matches. Hopefully we get more next week.
Yeah, we're building to Grand Valley State.
Saginaw
State. Sorry, I'm getting them all confused. Downstairs we go to Kaylee Marintet.
Hey guys, even though it's April Fool's, the competition today was no joke. Lots of great games, especially in the finals here, like you said, Dan, of the 4 seed going all the way to the end. We also heard some great stories, one right now from one of the mentors at 469 that just won the most recent award about her battle with stage 4 breast cancer and how other people can help with this bone marrow drive. And like you said, we're going to be at 2 o'clock next weekend, Saginaw Valley State for finals, or states. So we will be here bringing you the latest. Dan, up to you.
All right. Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. All the big dogs coming together next weekend at Saginaw Valley State University. Thanks to my partner, Dan Kimura. Thanks to Kaylee Marintet and our great production crew who does an outstanding job here working all day. From Troy Athens High School, we say so long from the First in Michigan District Troy event. Your winners, teams from Holly High School, the Center for Innovation, and Bentley High School. We'll see you next Saturday, 2 o'clock, as we pick it up from Saginaw Valley State University for the state championships.